Manchester United 0, Wolves 1. Another Premier League defeat for Manchester United. Pretty much an undeserved loss. I think we were pretty unlucky to get the loss. We dominated the match, I will say. It wasn't a match that had a lot of chances created. It was pretty much a midfield battle, in my opinion. But we were the better team for the large part of the match. And this was one of those matches again. I mentioned it last. I mentioned it last show that sometimes there's just matches where we are the better team. We play better. We had the better chances. It wasn't a lot, but we had the better chances. We were the better team. Wolves didn't create anything at all, and they scored a winner off a free kick. So unlucky Manchester United today. Not like some of our other losses that we suffered during the season. And it's, it's disappointing, but listen, again, these things happen in football. It's a pile-on top of the shit season that we're having. But, I mean, these sorts of games happen. But there's a couple things that, we need to discuss because certain things need to be kinked out of this Manchester United team. And they need to do better, and there has to be improvements in these areas. But also at the same time, there was a couple positives. Let's start with some of the positives. But before we do, please smash that like button. Get involved in the chat. If you're new, subscribe. And make sure you hit the notification bell icon so you never miss a live and you stay up to date. But other than that, I want to start off by saying AMASS and Frederickson, I think, are the two big positives that we can take out of today. I mean, the kids played absolutely brilliantly. It was good to see them out there on the pitch, but I mean, they had fantastic games. AMASS was beautiful, was perfect. Frederickson, same thing, was beautiful, was perfect. Didn't expect him to start today. Didn't expect him to even play, really. Didn't know he was one that was going to be an option, or he was going to be involved, really. But the two kids, they played fantastic. And they're probably the biggest positive that we had today because they were brilliant. They were brilliant. They really were brilliant. And a couple of the chat members in here, Bach saying, agreed, Amos and Frederickson look composed and Premier League ready. They were really good. They were really good. And, that's probably one of the big positives from today is the two kids. Because, I mean, they, in my opinion, they played outstanding. They were the ones that stood out. They were strong. They looked and performed like they weren't kids. They performed and looked like they had some experience underneath them. They had strong performances. So I'm very encouraged from that. I'm glad Ruben gave them minutes. He gave them a shot. He gave them an opportunity. He said he was going to, but you didn't know how many and how much time and stuff like that. And they both got good ample amount of time. Cheeto coming on a little bit later on around the 70th minute. I wish maybe he got 10 extra minutes. Rasmus getting those opportunities today. We got to talk about Rasmus. And we got to talk about a couple other things. So, Ray says we don't deserve nothing. 2 shots on goal, what we deserve. Well, we didn't deserve to lose. That's the point. Did we do enough to win the match? I would say not really, because we, like you said, we only had 1 shot on goal. I think we created a good amount of chances, but we wasted the chances. The chances that we created, we should have more than 1 shot on goal. There should have been more than 1 shot, for sure. So I don't think we did necessarily enough to win the match because we were wasteful in the opportunities that we created. And I think we created many very good opportunities. But I don't think we deserve to lose because Wolves created less than us and we controlled the match. They literally did nothing. They all they did was defend the entire match. So, in my opinion, it's an unlucky loss because maybe you could argue, it was fairly tight. We kind of canceled each other out with the formations and the lineups and stuff. So, I think the game probably should have ended in a draw considering how we performed. We were the better team for sure. They scored off of a set piece. That was the only thing that they did the entire match. And it was from a set piece. So I don't think we deserve to lose. I don't think I can say that we necessarily deserve to win because we didn't do enough with the chances we created, which is another problem with this team. You know, we scored 5 goals on Thursday. We had ample amounts of shots on target. But I think today we were still dangerous. But I mean, some of the shots that we had, the final ball, the final shot, we were so wasteful. Missing the target from inside the box. Rasmus not being able to get on the end of one or two of the very good balls that was put to him in the box. Just on Rasmus today, I think he had good opportunities. And he wasn't able to take them. It's, again, I think it's a little bit different than Thursday. Thursday, I mean, there was no service to him. Today, there was more service to him, but, a striker lacking confidence and a striker lacking form. And this is what happens. He just couldn't buy a goal today. He had a couple good chances, and it just didn't happen. I mean, but, even for that much, Cheeto came on, and there wasn't much for him either to get in there. So, what's the chat saying? Wolves had 1 shot on goal. They did. We were the better team for sure, says Box. RSV says Garnacho surprisingly played well. I'm glad you mentioned that because I want to. Let's talk about that. Garnacho played much better today. And much more like how I want him to play. Number one, again, I think he did pretty similar to what he usually does. He's threatening in the attack. He gets on the ball. He drives forward, but he was doing it very strongly, very confidently, and he was finding the space. And the major improvement was that he actually passed the ball a lot more, putting the balls into the box and getting good balls into the box. The finishing from our end was poor off those balls, so it didn't lead to anything. But I'm much happier with Garnacho today than I was on Thursday. Thursday, he was far too selfish, and he was very frustrating. Today, he was much better, which is good. I assume Ruben Amorim sorted that out because, again, like I said, I know that Ruben doesn't want any selfish players. So sure, he had a talking to him, and Garnacho did well, I guess, to take that understanding, and he executed it on the pitch. It didn't lead to us scoring, but it was definitely an improved performance by Garnacho for sure. RSV also says Rasmus was so bad, he only made 1 decent run in behind. Nah, I think he had a couple, but, again, a striker that has had a very poor season for one reason or another, he's lacking confidence and he's lacking form. There was at least, off the top of my mind right now, there was at least 2 chances he has to get on the end of them. And at this point, I don't even want to be angry with him. I feel bad for him because it just seems like whatever he tries to do, it just won't happen for him. You know what I mean? It won't happen for him. I mean, the last opportunity that he got before he got subbed, he was there. He was studs away from putting the ball in the net, but it's just not working for him. It's just not working for him this season. It seems like, when he does get the opportunities, he can't finish it. And then the other matches, he just doesn't get opportunities. So it's sort of a hit or miss. Ray says, playing home, 2 shots on goal, keep lowering the standards. We're not lowering the standards. Not saying, we didn't say anything. Tell me how we're lowering the standards. I said it's just an undeserved loss. I didn't say we deserve to win the match. We didn't do enough to win the match because we only had 1 shot on target. You know what I mean? We needed to do more. We created good chances, but I want to see the amounts of shots that we had. There was at least 4 or 5 in the box that you either have to get on the end of them or you have to put them on target. They shot them wide or they completely missed them. I mean, so you didn't do enough to win the match. But Wolves didn't outplay us. They weren't the better team. They didn't create anything. If we created nothing, they definitely created nothing. They scored off a set piece. So, in my opinion, we're unlucky to lose the match because it probably should have ended in a draw. And that's not good enough either because we're home and we were the better team and we should have won that match because I felt like we played well enough to win the match, but we didn't do enough in the final third of the pitch, which again has been sort of an issue this season. We're sort of a little bit hot and cold. There's one match where we have ample amounts of shots on targets. Maybe we don't score, maybe we do score a couple and we win the match. And then we have a match like this where I feel like we play good in terms of general play on the pitch. We do good in the attacking sense, but the final part of the play falls apart. So we're a little bit hot and cold there. We're inconsistent when it comes to that sort of thing there. Almost says, bro, we won't win the European League with this goalkeeper. That on Thursday night was just papered over the cracks. There's more to come, misery. Well, I'm not blaming Onana for the free kick today. I mean, you're not stopping that. He was at full stretch, and it was a well taken free kick. And it was a bad, it was a bad foul to give away in a bad position. So, I do believe we will win the Europa League. I think it's our competition. It's been well to us. The Premier League has been very bad to us, but the Europa League has been very kind to us. So I think we can win it. But Bach says Hojlund confidence looks shot. He spun his man well, yes, on that halfway line, did a good run and then stopped and was dispossessed. Yeah, that's part of the confidence lacking there, and maybe a little bit of poor decision making as well because he did do well to spin his man. And when that chance came, I said, "Here we go." I said, "This is what I want. Give him the opportunity. Let him do that sort of thing, and let him at least mess it up." Compared to last match, he did mess it up because he should have cut inside. I don't know why he went to the left. In my opinion, he should have went to the right. And he did stop and he hesitated. So, he's lacking confidence. And I don't think he made the right decision in that situation. I think he should have definitely cut inside. And it would have probably been a better position for him to get a shot off. And maybe he wouldn't have gotten dispossessed as well. Almost says Garnacho and Hojlund need to be sold with Onana. Well, I think Garnacho had a very good game today, so maybe that's just your general opinion. I don't think that's a fair opinion to say off of today's performance for Garnacho wise. I think Garnacho had a very excellent game, much better game than Thursday. Thursday he was very, very frustrating, and it was he was just too selfish. Today, I think he improved. And he did better. He did better trying to find his teammates. He created good opportunities. But it didn't come off. Grace is here as well, our one of our moderators. That went out for the day with my dog to the park. Didn't watch the game. Thank God. Amorim has to go. It's getting embarrassing now. 8th was bad enough with Eric Ten Hag. You should all watch a different sport. And she said, it will save you all the heartbreak. Do yourselves a favor. Well, I don't have heartbreak because I know what we are and I know what we're doing. So, I mean, fair play to you. And if you do what you do what you got to do, Grace, if that's how you have to cope with things, listen, I can take this. I'm okay. I'm here. I'm calm. I'm not screaming at the camera. Listen, this season is what this season is. I'm looking forward to next season for the Premier League. I still have faith in the manager. I don't believe that he needs to be sacked. As of right now, I believe he deserves the chance for next season to show us what he can do. And yeah, I just think that this season has been one that's been sort of a mess, and he's gonna have to sort it out. He has a big job on his hand. He's gonna have to sort it out. But I'm giving him a preseason, and I'm gonna give him, next season to show us what he's gonna do. So, and I think he can do it. I think the Europa League shows that the team can play a football. The Europa League is a little bit slower and a little bit less physical than the Premier League. I think some of the characteristics of our current squad need to be updated in that manner. And I also think the players need a little bit more time with the system because they can't keep up with the pace of the Premier League. I think we play pretty decently and pretty good in the Europa League because it's a little bit slower, so we have a little bit more time on the ball, which allows us to play the game and the system a little bit better. But in the Prem, it's faster and it's stronger and it's certainly tougher. And I think that's where we struggle a little bit. So some of the players need to get a little bit more up to speed, and then we need to strengthen the squad. We need to improve certain aspects of the squad, characteristics of the squad, and make it stronger so we can actually play the proper football and succeed in the Premier League. Because, not for nothing, we didn't even play bad today. We didn't. I think the general play for the match was good. We were pretty threatening up until the final ball. So I can't, I'm not that angry. I see what's trying to be implemented into the squad. It's just a work in progress. He's 5 months into the job. Again, I don't understand how he was supposed to come in and just perform miracles and transform a already mediocre team into a great team. It has stayed pretty mediocre, but there has been improvements in some areas, and some areas definitely still need to be improved, and those things have to improve at some point in time going forward. And hopefully that should be for next season. It kind of has to be for next season. But yes, I understand the position isn't great, but it's been a season it's been an unstable season. We started off with one manager, we sacked that manager, we got another manager. It hasn't really been a normal season, especially for the new manager coming in November and the situation he's come into. So, I'm sitting here as well. Box says, no, never mind. We're getting beat by Athletic on Thursday. I don't think so, Almo. I don't think so. And I refuse to be negative. I am one to never be. I'm one to never be negative. I think we can beat them, and I think we should beat them. Again, I think the Premier League is much tougher than Europa League. I look at all the teams in there, and I think we should be able to beat them all. The only one that will give us a problem is Tottenham, because they are literally the same as us. We're pretty much the same team. We're, almost on the same points or in the same position, and we've had almost the same season. The only factor is that they beat us twice, and we can't let it happen for a third time, because I think we will meet them in the final. So, we have been terrible in the Premier League. It's not been bad to us. We've been shit. No, it's been bad to us. Listen, I think some of the games we have been absolutely dreadful. Like against Newcastle, we were absolutely horrible and terrible. I don't think that's the full story of the time of Ruben and the games in the Premier League, because I think there have been multiple matches that have been like today where we weren't actually bad. In the final third, we were bad. Everywhere else, we were good. I think defending was good. I think build-up play was good. Creating chances was good, but finishing the chances, not good. So, even against Forest, we were the better team. I don't think we deserved to lose that match. They had one opportunity that they created, they scored. So, again, these things happen in football, but when you mix it in with sort of the bad and shit performances that we've had, and, like against Newcastle and stuff like that, then it makes for one that it looks very, very ugly. But again, we are where we are. I mean, this position isn't going to change. I've already accepted that, so I don't really care. I understand 13th is unacceptable, but I would carry that over to next season and say that, it can't look like this. It has to look better. And that's where I'm going to reserve my judgment for you know, what Ruben's future holds. Because if we start off next season and with 10 matches in and we're in 14th place, then that's not, that's can't happen. But this season has just been sort of a mess all over the place, except for the Europa League. We were lucky against Lyon. We won't against Athletic. Well, you don't know that. And you know what? I will say this. We were lucky, and I can make the argument we were unlucky in the first leg. I mean, against Lyon, we were the better team with 3 out of the 4 halves of regular time. So again, I think we were the better team. We deserve to beat them. We deserve to go through. So I don't really necessarily agree with that. I view it in a different way. Athletic Club or not, Lyon, they play good football, and will pass us off the park. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when it happens. We'll see when it happens. I'm not gonna say things like that. You don't know what's gonna happen. Could happen. Could happen. It's always a possibility, but I don't know. I expect the team to be up for it, and they should. Yeah, don't worry. I have a hiding spot at my local park to hide myself away from everybody else. If we lose the first 5 game next season, I'll be Ruben out. Well, I'll tell you what we can't do. Something like that, Almo, we can't do, because now this obviously doesn't involve Ruben because he didn't start the season. But last season and this season, starting off the season, we had 6 out of 15 points and 7 out of 15 points. I forget which one is which, but they're pretty much the same. We can't do that. That can't happen. I want Ruben to start strong. We cannot win two matches out of the first 5 in the beginning of the season. We need a strong start. It's important to have a strong start. We better look strong. This is my expectation. One of my expectations for Ruben. It was the same expectation I had for Ten Hag, and I think he failed, and that's why I lost a little bit of belief in him. The team, from once we get towards the end of preseason, the team better look sharp. It better look strong, and it better be ready to go. We can't go into the first match looking like we never had a preseason like we did this season and the season before that, and even the season before that, to be quite honest, because I think all 3 starts weren't even that great under Eric Ten Hag. But the biggest disappointing factor to me for Ten Hag was that in my mindset, I was like, listen, your job was under threat. You have to have a strong start. We had a bad season last season. It was marred by injuries. We gave you the benefit of the doubt, and you started the season off poor. And I will say the same thing goes for Eric, for Ruben Amorim. It's been very inconsistent. It's been sort of a mess. It hasn't been good results in the Premier League, and he needs to have a strong start. He does. Not just for himself, but for the club, for the season. You can't. The stronger start you have, the better for us. It can propel us into a little bit of form early on in the season. Those points are important because teams are still a little bit rusty all over the place. And if we could get an early jump in the beginning of the season, the better for us. So, and that's kind of where we've been lacking the last 2 seasons. So we gotta have a strong season next season. That's up to Ruben, and Ruben has to make sure that this team is ready to go. I don't want them looking like they're miles off the pace when we play the first 5 matches. They better be up to speed. Otherwise that goes on him, because that's his job. He has the preparation, he has the plans for the preseason, and it's his job to make sure that the team is ready to go. And we're giving him that opportunity for the preseason, to have a proper preseason. So that's one of his obligations, that he better make sure that that's ready to go. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of doubt. It's going to be a lot of negativity. And he can't really afford that going forward after the season comes to a close. Almost says the strikers are not good enough. It's as simple as that. Terrible footballers. But from Obi, we only have 1 striker. I don't consider Xerxes a striker. I consider him a 10. He is a striker that. He is a player that's used as striker because we only have Rasmus. Rasmus has had a horrible season. I think last season he showed some signs of hope and potential. That's all been erased this season. So we obviously need another striker. I don't think Rasmus is. I don't know if Rasmus is going to go anywhere. I could see him staying here and being the second option. But I do. I think we all expect a striker to come in for sure, regardless. And we're gonna have to bolster the attack because that's clearly something that is misfiring for different reasons. Fox says it was essentially a dead rubber end of season game. We rotated heavily, got some youngsters, gave some youngsters a go. We're the better team, but lost to a 30-yard free kick. It is what it is. And I think that's probably the better way to generalize it. You know, I feel like a lot of people are taking this game and games similar to this, and they kind of mix it into the overall general. They just say, "Oh, it's a loss." You know, without the context, without the sort of analyzing of the match. I mean, these sorts of matches happen. You don't want them to happen, but they do happen. I don't think it's a match. Like, listen, the Newcastle match was disgusting and it was a disaster, and that is never acceptable in any form. I mean, we were destroyed, we were outplayed, and we were embarrassed. Those sorts of performances are different than these sorts of performances, in my opinion. You know, I don't think they're the same. They don't hold the same weight. They're two different things. And they tell two different sorts of stories. One, you know, that match is like we're nowhere near it. This match was just, we didn't do enough. We did better than Wolves. We conceded a free kick. They did nothing. So in my opinion, it feels unlucky to me. But you know, Ray says the master missed a big ball in the big box and nobody has mentioned it. 15 losses for the season back 1990. Well, yeah, the last time that we took 15 losses was in 1989. Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge. And after that, he ended up figuring it out. So, you know, maybe we could do something like that where, you know, it's sort of a mess and we go forward and we figure it out from there. I'm not going to say we're going to have the same success as Ferguson went on to have, but I mean, these things can happen. Again, manager has to be given the opportunity. 5 months is unacceptable to judge a manager, especially in this situation and circumstances. I truly do believe coming in the middle of November, taking over a squad that doesn't really fit his system and style of play, and having to transform it in the middle of the season is a monumental task, and it was never going to go smoothly. And I think, myself included, anybody that thought that was, I think we were fools for that, because it became quite clear and obvious quite quickly that it was a much bigger job than we assumed. It wasn't one that you were going to get a bounce in when you do those sorts of things. So, I told you the other day about 15 players need to be sold. Yeah. Well, yes, and I agree with that, but it's not going to happen. So to win the Premier League, I do agree with the statement that about 15 players probably need to be sold, somewhere around there. But two different manners, you know, we're not selling 15 players in one summer. So when you say 15 players, you're going to give this guy 3 windows to do it, or you're going to just say, you know, scrap the project and sack him, because it's going to take 3 summer windows for him to do that. And I will say, you know what, maybe 2, because we got the 5, which he's using, and I think they are good. We got the 5 in the summer, you know, 2 months before he came, and I'm looking to get 5 this window. This summer, I think we got to get 5, and then he needs another 5, and that's about 15 new players. in total. I mean, we got Dorgu, so that's 6. So I think we need 5 this summer, and I think we need another 5 next summer. In total, that would amount to a new starting 11, pretty much, from the one that we had last season and prior. And I think in that way that the team will be transformed to go that can go on to win the Premier League. I do agree that we probably do need to change at some point, in periods to get to and in and around the Premier League title, something around 15 players. Because I think we need 5 this summer, and I think we need 5 next summer. And if we could get 1 or 2 in January, we got to do that as well. So, Box says some of these fans aren't built for the rebuild. They're used to the glory hunting years and want the soft ride. Maybe it's a little bit unfair. I think. Excuse me for that. I'm sorry. I think it's a little bit unfair. In the terms of that, maybe some people are just. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's been a rough season. It's been a rough sort of 13 years. I think people have lost patience and have lost belief. But you got to sort of keep that belief in the darkness. Because at some point we will come out of this. At some point, history dictates it. I don't know when and how long, but it will happen at some point or another. So, so we're really accepting losing 15 games in the league. That's a disgrace. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't. What do you want us to do about it? It's not acceptable. It can't happen again next season. I mean, I don't really know what you want to do about it. Do you want to? Do you want to go to Old Trafford and just burn it down? Should we just close the club? I don't. What does that really mean, though? Like, obviously, nobody wants us losing 15 matches. Obviously, that's shit and that's terrible. But there's circumstances around that as to why this has gone on, and I'm not going to pin it all on the manager because he didn't even have the full season. I mean, part of this season started with a different manager, so we're just going to take from when the Premier League starts in August, we're just going to take August, September, October, up until Ten Hag gets sacked, and we'll just throw it on Ruben Amorim as well. To me, this season is just a mess. It's just one that it's not a normal season. I don't think you can fully. I don't think you can fully judge or rate the manager. I think that has to come next season. So there's things that aren't going well. He's obviously going to accept blame for the losses because he's in charge. But I think it's too early to make a final judgment, because I think there's things that have improved since he's come in. There's things that haven't improved, or maybe some things have gotten worse that he needs to figure out. But again, I don't think he's gotten a fair shake, because the circumstances around his situation is unusual and unnormal. In all reality, in most clubs, he probably would have came in the summer. Or they wouldn't have gotten him because his system and style of play is different to what the team is built to, and they would have just gotten another manager that played similar football to Erik Ten Hag with a little bit of different ideas. So neither of that stuff happened. So for me, in my opinion, I can't hold it against the manager to that circumstance. And some of these matches, I don't even think we played that bad. Definitely the general play has improved. The understanding and the positioning has improved from when he started. But it just hasn't gone our way. This season has been really, really, really poor. And next season it can't happen. It's not allowed to happen. So if it does happen, it's gonna go on him, and he's gonna have to suffer the consequences of whatever that is. Because it's his job to make sure that this doesn't happen. And then the whole onus will be on him, because he's gonna get his summer window. He's gonna get players for himself. He's gonna get his preseason. So again, it will be on him. But in due time. In due time. I think Amorim is biased. He had to put the Portuguese players in. No, I mean, I wouldn't say that. He dropped them. I mean, not dropped them, but he rotated them. Um, yeah, I don't think so. Um, I mean, they're two of our better performing players, anyway. So, um, yeah, I wouldn't say that. We put the Portuguese in and we lost the game. We lost the game from a free kick. Does that have anything to do with Portuguese? It has nothing to do with Portuguese. Delo and Bruno didn't do anything for us to lose the match. Almost says we need 6 players this summer to even get top 4. Well, yeah, if we could get 6, the more the merrier. I would take. I'd take as many as we want. I think 5 is a good. I think if we ended with 5, I would say 5 is good. 6 would be even better because we get an extra player. So let's see what happens. I mean, if we win the Europa, maybe we can get 6 because maybe we can afford it. I think 5 is what we need. I think 5 will be a little bit hard. So Aventino is here. Says Yo family, it's been a minute. 5 players would be great. Yeah, I think I think minimum we need 5 players. Regardless of the money that we have. I think for the project and for Ruben, I think we need 5 players, one way or another. You have to get those players in. For sure. Interesting to see what Ineos does this summer, Lyle says. Well, yeah, I mean, that's going to be the whole focus, right? And it's going to be a huge determining factor as well. So we got to, it's a lot of waiting. It's a lot of seeing. We're going to have to see what happens. We're going to do live player ratings in 5 minutes. The circumstances are the players are shit. As simple as that. I mean, some of them are. But yeah, I do agree. I think that we do need better players. I think there's players there to work with. I think off the top of my head, or better yet, let me just pull up a whole list of people. Maz is one that I would keep and that can work with. Dorgu, obviously, Ugarte, AMASS. Well, but he's a kid. But we're not even going to talk about AMASS. Kobe, Garnacho is a little bit of one way or another for me because he has a game like today, which I think was good and better, but he had a game like Thursday, and then it makes me question his whole existence at the club. Rasmus is one that has a huge question mark over his head because we don't know if he's going to be actually sold this summer. He's obviously had a terrible season. And we don't know if he does stay. We don't know how next season will necessarily go for him. But regardless of him, you still need another striker. We needed another striker before the season started. We needed the other striker when we bought Rasmus. So regardless of that, we need another striker in that position. Delo, I like, and I think he's good. Bruno, I like, and I think he's good. Mount, I like, and I think he's good, but he's got to stay fit. And so far, he's done a good job of that. But I still think there's a little bit of a question over him because we got to see how that transfers to next season, because if he could stay available for the majority of next season, then it's almost like, and I know everybody hates this, but it's almost like having a new player because he's literally been almost unavailable since we've gotten him. Euro is good and I would keep. Even Maguire I think is good and I would keep. Cass has been playing very good since he's come in. The problem is he's on 350,000 a week, and I don't think you can start him from start to finish in a season and have him as the starter. But there's also the fact that he doesn't necessarily want to leave, so you can't force him to leave. And you're not going to send a player on 350,000 a week into the reserves. That's madness. So we might have to keep him. I think you can use him in that aspect in terms of a squad player. I would look to move him on, but considering the circumstances, I mean, you can only do what you can do. Diallo, obviously, good player. Keep him. Joshua Xerxes, he's improved. And I would like to see what he gives us next season because this is his first season. So I think he deserves. I think he's earned at least a shot for next season to see what he can give us and how much he can improve before making a final judgment on if we should keep him or sell him. Lisandro, I like Lisandro. Worrying things about him because the two bad injuries this season, last season. So you know, we got to sort that out with him. If he gets another bad injury, we probably have to let him go because it's only going to go downhill from there, really, in terms of that. But I think he's a good player when he's fit. Mateus de Ligt, I like him. I think he's a good player. And Collier, I think you can use him as a squad player for now. So, I mean, you know, the squad is there's parts to be used there. There's parts that can improve. There's parts that can be good. There's potential to work with there. So I think 5 players coming in, definitely we could do something with that. Ineos, mess. They don't want to go for top players, but when for top manager, Ineos should stick to their decision they made last summer. I mean, but they explained why they didn't do that, Ray. And I buy what Sir Jim said in that aspect. I didn't buy everything he said in the interview, but I think he was fair in what he said. He said that they tried to determine whether it was the manager or it was the environment, pretty much the people above him, and how the manager was working in, and they couldn't determine if it was him or if it was the latter. And they started off the season and they said it became quite clear that, they made the wrong decision. So they sacked him. I actually have no problem with them sacking him. Because if they feel like they made the wrong decision, you have to rectify it. You can't just sit on your ass and say, I hope it works out when we fucked up. So, yeah, and not wanting to go for top players. We can't go for top players because we don't have money. So I mean, I don't know how you would want them to do that. Top players cost a lot of money, and we have to build a squad. Because the squad is not a complete squad. It's not a complete team. So to build the squad, we need 5 players. We can't spend 300 million. So how you want them to go for top players when we don't have a squad? Would kind of just be like what we did in the past, where we buy one big player for 80 to 100 million, and the rest of the team kind of just suffers because we can't afford to buy another player in a different position because we spent all our money on one player, and then we go into the season and we have a mediocre season. Doesn't make sense. We need to have a structured way of spending. There's good talent out there. They don't have to be top players. They don't have to cost 100 million. There's good players out there that you can buy for 40, 50, 60 million. We just did this last season. Maz, how much was Maz? I consider Maz a top player. He's good. He is really good. And he was a bargain for what we got him for. Even de Ligt and all these other players, they're all decent fees, but they're all good players. So, by the way, Aventino says, by the way, I was super impressed by AMASS today. Yeah, I mean, he was really, really good. He was really, really good. So that was one of the big positives. And I was highly impressed by Frederickson because I haven't watched him at all. I don't watch the youth. I'm always upfront about that. And I was surprised that he started. Because I didn't even think that was going to happen. And definitely not him. He started, but he played very well as well. Him and AMASS almost played on the same level. Lyle has an update. Says Discord channel almost ready. Yes, we are working on that, even though Lyle is doing most of the work. But yeah, we are working on that. We were discussing it yesterday. We've come up with a little bit of a plan. And it's getting sorted, so that should be coming soon. Which will be good because we can use it for the transfer window and stuff like that. We have a couple cool ideas as well. I'm trying to get one of my friends to automate it for me for certain sections so that, for example, like, when there's transfer news from the aggregators, it will get auto posted to the Discord. That way we are kept up to date in real time. with all the updates from the good aggregators that put out the good credible news. So and we got some other stuff coming in there as well. So yeah, it's gonna be good when it's ready. And we will let you know when it is ready. Box says we need to buy Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Cruz, Robin, Ribery. We do. And Schneider. Don't forget Schneider. We're still being linked to Schneider. Maybe one day he will come. Maybe one day he will come. Mason Mount is terrible. He needs to be sold. I don't know what you're talking about there. I disagree with that. Terrible. Um, I don't agree with that. I think you're standing on an island with that one. Listen, Mason Mount has had a bad time because he's been injured. I think when he's available, he's not a terrible player and he's not a bad player. I think he's one that actually fits the system quite well. And I think he's one that's going to be an important player as long as he stays fit and is able to play. I think he'll be an important player, and I think he'll be a good player of the squad. So, Martinez needs to be sold to injury prone. Well, I'd give him another shot. I think two bad injuries. They were bad tackles, and they botched his surgery. So, with one of those. So that botched surgery really isn't his fault. He should have been back quicker. He should have been back sooner, and he should have been probably ready to go off of that one. But we botched. They botched the surgery. So, yeah, I'll give him another season. I don't think he's gonna go anyway this season. And this is what I'm trying to say, Almo. Like, I understand maybe over the course of time, about 15 players, somewhere around there, 12, 15 players, because it's going to happen with time anyway. But I think this window, there's a certain amount of players you get rid of first. You do it in tiers. So I think there's some players there that may to keep progressing. At some point, you will have to maybe replace them or move them on. But I think there's a certain level of players that need to immediately go this summer. There's some players that you can sort of use for the upcoming season, but after that season, you might look to then move them on and improve on top of them. It has to come in tiers. You can't just, because let's just put it this way, Almo. If we were to remove 15 players right now, and we were able to get in 12 players, 12 brand new players, let me explain to you that the season isn't going to go well at all because we've changed the entire team and there's going to be no chemistry and it's going to be dysfunctional. So even if we change all those players right now, it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go because you say that all these players are shit and they need to be changed. It has to be done in tiers. So to me, there's a certain number of players that must go this season, this summer window, no matter what. There's some that we can use as part of the squad that are useful in certain aspects, but maybe they're not good enough for a Premier League winning or Premier League challenging team. But we're not there yet. We have to take one step first, and then we got to take the next step after that. So eventually, over time, yeah. But in the immediate future, I think there's some players that we need to keep and hold because we have to use them. And we have to get rid of certain players that are just completely below the level. So, Ray says, what happened? We had AMASS, but we went and got Dorgo. I mean, but we can literally use both. That's not an issue. I don't understand how that's an issue. We needed a wing back anyway because Malassi is going, so somebody's got to replace him, and Luke Shaw is still very unreliable. And also, Luke Shaw might not play left back. He might not play left wing back. I mean, it helps the squad in terms of options. You can play Luke Shaw left wing back if you need him to, but we also know that Luke Shaw can also play left center back. So he's another one that's multi-position that helps the team. So having AMASS and having Dorgu as the kind of set wing backs is good, and having Luke Shaw as kind of a utility between an extra center back and a left wing back is also good. I don't think that's a problem in any way. So we needed a wing back regardless. So that's not a problem. Almost says I'll sell Delit if we got a big offer and Ugarte. I told you this before. Nah, I wouldn't do that. I think Ugarte is a good player, and I think Delit's a good player. You know, I don't know. I don't know why you would sell them. You know, maybe in 2 seasons time, depending on how they perform. Maybe. I mean, this is their first season. Let's see how next season goes. I think they've done well this season in their first season. And I don't see the point. Why would you sell Delit and Ugarte when I would rather sell Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, get rid of Ericsson? I would move on Casemiro. You know, Lindelof out. You know, there's numerous amounts of players that I would get out before even looking at them. I wouldn't even get rid of them for next season. They have to get another shot next season as well. So, the injuries are scary, to be honest. We have consistently have 7 or 8 unavailable, even though players come and go off the injury list. Well, we've had injury problems for quite some time. I did do a tweet one time where I did look up all the injuries for Manchester United from the time Sir Alex Ferguson, the season where Van Gaal took over, Moyes took over. From that time to I think it was up to last season. And our injury record is absolutely atrocious. So I think we've done a little bit better with injuries this season compared to last season, and even maybe the season before. But you're always going to get injuries regardless. Every team gets injuries, so you have to have the depth and you have to have the quality in the depth to minimize the injuries. But I mean, some of the injuries we've gotten this season have been the different injuries to what was going on last season. I mean, last season players were just dropping like flies. This season, they're more normal injuries. They're quite high in numbers still, but I mean, these things are all gonna happen. Every team gets injuries, so I mean, you got Arsenal fans complaining about injuries. You know, and they're second in the Premier League and they're in the semifinals of the Champions League, and their list doesn't look like ours, but they still complain about injuries. Everybody complains about injuries, but it always happens. So Lyle says yes, sell Ugarte doesn't create. He's being sarcastic there. Ray says I bet we'll send AMASS on loan next season. I bet we won't. I bet you we won't. Because he's literally using him, and he's praising him in the media, and he had a very good game. So I don't think AMASS will go on loan. There's no need for AMASS to go on loan because AMASS clearly is better than any of the other players that we send on loan. I actually trust what we are doing with these players. Listen, the younger ones that we've sold, that we moved on, even like an Alvaro, which we said we wanted him. You know, kind of besides him, I mean, the other ones that we sold haven't done anything. You know, they haven't done anything. They're not playing in teams where we look at them and we say it was a mistake. Maybe Alenga, but Alenga was sold before this regime took over. So, you know, that's different circumstance. The ones that Ineos let go, they haven't done anything. And when they loan them out, I actually trust them because I think that they're not ready. So when you loan them out, you loan them out. But they actually didn't loan AMASS out. There was talk about AMASS going out on loan in January, and they chose not to do it because they actually figured that he will come into the team. So they kept him here. Fox says, I see Spurs only have one player out now after having an injury crisis early in the season, whereas we constantly can't seem to have a fit squad. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we still have issues there. I mean, you want the least amount of injuries as possible, but we have to deal with it, which is why we need better depth anyway in the squad, because we need better quality. Because we will suffer injuries. Everybody's going to suffer injuries. Some of the players, it's a little bit questionable. Like Collier, I don't understand how he's just sort of been out. I mean, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 players out due to injury. Diallo's out, Xerxes out, Martinez, Delit, and Collier. Collier, I don't understand how he's still out, because he was out, came back, got some sort of another injury or the same injury. I don't know what it is. And he just hasn't come back. Delit is one where we have to look a little bit more closely, because he is one that he does suffer injuries here and there. He might be a tad injury prone. Um, so that one we got to look out for, because we got to see how that's going to progress. Because if it starts getting worse, then maybe we do actually have to get rid of him, and maybe it wasn't actually that good of a buy, even though I think he is a quality player. But you can't have players that aren't available. Players that are unavailable are no good, regardless of their talent. So Lisandro is another one. I think next season is going to be a telling one, because if he suffers another bad injury, I think that's career done at Manchester United, because you can't have 3 back-to-back injuries. You can't miss the amount of time he's missing due to injuries. It hurts the squad. I think he's a good player when he's available, but him being out for this length amount of time does impact and hurt the squad, and we can't have that. We need to have somebody that's available. And Xerxes obviously having the hamstring injury, so unfortunate there, but those things do happen. And Diallo, that injury as well. And we got to look out for him, because he was a very important player before he got injured. So um, Axe has joined us as well. I'm very far behind in the chat, so excuse me for that. Almost says, I'll keep Euro and Kobe. I wouldn't care if the rest gets sold. Well, I think you're being a bit extreme. I'm gonna be honest with you, Almo. I think you're being a bit extreme. That's not including the youngsters like Kobe and Obi. Yeah, I think you're being a bit extreme. To be quite honest, I don't think our team is necessarily that bad. I think there needs to be areas to be strengthened, but yeah. Euro has done very well. I think we got a player there. Same. The rest are deadbeat. No, no. Euro's done well. He has done well. Um, but I think Moss has done well, and I think Delit has done well, and I think actually Dorgu has done well since he's come in. I think Ugarte's done well. Um, Garnacho's been sort of hit or miss. Sometimes he does well, sometimes he doesn't do so well. Kobe, I think, is Kobe, and he was just injured, so we were missing him a little bit. Rasmus has had a horrible season. Delo, I think's had a good season. I think Bruno started off kind of slow, but he picked it up, and he's been very good as of late, and obviously our focal point. I think Mount has done decently well since coming back from his injury and being out for so long and not playing so much football. Some of these players, they just need football. They just need consistency. Um, yeah, Lindelof, I don't really rate, and I want him gone. I think Maguire is a good player, and we should probably keep him. I think Cass has actually picked it up as well. I think Cass, he sort of tends to do this. I think he's done it the past 2 seasons, where like when we start off the season, he seems sort of. You talk about him in the manner of like he seems kind of finished, but then when we get towards the end of the season, somehow he tends to like find some form and he picks it up, and he's very solid. And he starts performing very well, like the seasoned, experienced player that he is. So he's a bit weird in that aspect, but I mean, I would look to replace him, but I understand that situation is not clear cut, so he might be one that we have to use. Um, but yeah, I don't have a problem too much. Oh yeah, happy Easter, by the way, to everybody that and anybody that celebrates Easter as well. Um, don't let the loss dampen your Easter. X says happy Easter. We ate meatballs. I think we should also fry Amorim's balls. Well, no. Again, you come in here. I don't know. I don't know. I look at today's match. I think it's. I don't know. In my opinion, it's just like it's so easy to just be like, yeah, we lost the match. Blame the manager. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't really look at it that way, but says absolutely disgusting performance. Disagree. Some players needed to rest, understandable, but the team played with no dedication, no determination. I mean, I don't know if you know the definition of those words, because they certainly weren't lacking dedication or determination. They, you know what they lacked? Execution. I don't. I you know I watched the match. I don't think I could say the team didn't have dedication or determination. I think they literally, the only word is they lacked execution. The final ball, the final play, that's what we lacked. I mean, we created good amounts of chances. We flubbed them. We had one big chance, but we had 1.1 xg. Wolves had 0.25 xg, and they had zero big chances. We had 12 shots. 12. We put one or two on target. I mean, you have to put more on target. Lack of execution. We had 9 corner kicks. Lack of execution. I think the corners were actually being taken quite well, but we just weren't getting on the end of them. 19 free kicks as well. So, um, you know, I don't think it's like that. We had 2 shots on target. 2 shots on target out of 12 shots. Wolves had 2 shots on target in 4 shots. And one of them was from a free kick, which they scored. So we had 5 shots inside the box. Yeah, 5 shots inside the box, and we have 2 on target. Can't happen. Can't happen. And we had 7 shots outside the box. But the 5 shots inside the box, they should all pretty much be on target. Maybe you missed 1, but we shouldn't have 2. We should have 4 or 5 shots on target if you have 5 shots inside the box. So, but we outplayed them. We didn't do enough to win because, again, 2 shots on target out of 12. You're not going to win a match like that. But they didn't do anything to really beat us besides score that free kick. So whenever we play against a decent team, Amorim's incompetence shows up. Well, explain to me how his incompetence. Explain how incompetence led to today, because I don't think he did. I don't think Amorim did anything that led us to lose the match. I'm pretty sure it was just that the players lacked the execution on the pitch, and so we didn't win. And then you get a little bit unlucky, and they get a little bit lucky because they take a night. You give away a bad foul in a bad area, and they take a good free kick and they score a goal. So, I thought some of our better performances under Amorim have been against the bigger teams. I mean, they also have. There was the match against Arsenal, there was the match against Liverpool, and there was a couple other ones out there as well. And again, this season is just one that's been fairly inconsistent for many reasons. So, uh, I don't, at this point, I'm gonna be quite honest, whether you agree with it or not. You might not like this. I don't really care about the league anymore. We're going to keep crying about 13th and, however many losses. Obviously, it's unacceptable, but I look to next season for him to rectify that. And if it happens next season, then, it has to be judged on him at that point. But this season is just a mess. It's just a mess. And it is what it is. It's not going to happen. Axe says, dog shit performance. Wolves deserve to win. I don't think you watched the match, Axe. I don't think you watched the match. You either didn't watch the match or you're being extremely, extremely agenda driven right now. Because that's totally wrong. In what way did Wolves deserve to win that match? They literally created absolutely nothing. We controlled the game. We had the better play, and we did much better than them. In every aspect, besides putting the ball in the net, which they did one time off of a free kick. So I don't know how Wolves deserves to win the match. And a dog shit performance is the performance that we had against Newcastle. This was not that performance, so not a dog shit performance. Um, I think some fans just watch games on flash score. I mean, they might. Um, Only we could have thrown this season at the bin like that. We can't accept such a performance. We are Manchester United. We can't accept one defeat after another. I mean, you're right in a certain aspect, yes, but again, we are where we are. So we have to get out of this. This is not acceptable to continue, but I'm looking to get out of it next season. I don't think there's nothing is going to drastically change from now to the end of the season in the Prem. I think it's quite clear and obvious. We need more better players. The squad needs an update. It needs a refresh. And also this guy needs a preseason, and he needs to play. Some of the players need more time in the system. The further we go on playing, the more that they get adjusted to it, the better they will be. Some of the players, some of them obviously they just don't work. So none of our players can play well in Amorim's idiotic system. I mean, it's not an idiotic system, and that's not true either, because there are players that actually play quite well in his system. So you know, again, I think you're being a bit over the top there, because that's not true at all. Not true at all. Explain to me where the attacking threat is. Well, how about this? Where was the attacking threat last season? Where was the attacking threat the season before? Where was the attacking threat before? We clearly need to improve the attack aspect in terms of personnel. In different reasons, but I mean, we created. Garnacho did well. As missed a couple good chances that he's got to put away. I think Kobe did well in the 10 as well. So the more options we get, the better we'll be able to do. Bad management made us lose the match. Sir Alex Ferguson would have dominated EPL with current squad. No, he wouldn't. You're crazy. Amorim can't motivate a player to save his life. You're also crazy. That's, I mean, so the players aren't motivated. So what they did on Thursday, that's not motivation in any way. You know, you can't just, you're just saying things at this point. They don't really make sense. You're just showing that your agenda against Ruben Amorim again. But we didn't score because we got no attacking threat. Well, that's why he's looking to bolster the attack. So I mean, we all know this. We've all been saying we need a striker anyway, but he's looking to get a striker. He's looking to get a 10. I actually read yesterday that they said something about he's looking to get a striker, a 10, a midfielder or two, maybe a center back, and maybe possibly another wing back. So, yeah, they literally scored more goals than us. It's why they deserve to win. No, that's not how that necessarily works always. Again, things aren't black and white. They didn't. We completely outplayed them in every aspect. They scored off of a set piece. We didn't do enough in the final attack. But in terms of the entire match, we controlled the game. We played better than them. They literally did nothing for like 89 minutes out of the 90. They did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. So we controlled the game. We played better than them. We were the better team. And they only scored from a set piece. So it's not like they even did better in terms of open play goals or open play chances. So we are where we are because Amorim and idiots who hired him. I don't care how good he was in Portugal. His style completely incompatible with the squad. That's very good. It is incompatible with the squad. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to change the squad. Because this squad wasn't going anywhere anyway. So I don't really care about that. You know, that doesn't really matter to me. This squad wasn't going anywhere. This squad wasn't going to win the Premier League. And it wasn't going to win the Champions League when we started with the other manager. It wasn't going to happen. Because of the way we did last season and the way we started this season. It was never going to happen. So I, for one, have been advocating we actually need to rebuild and change the squad, and I've been saying that for fucking like 3-4 seasons now, and we never did it. And now is the time to do it because they picked this manager and they picked this style of football, and they better do it, and that's all I'm gonna say. Mister, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm sorry. Di Cassiandro says, in relation to who we are and who Wolves are, we should be winning games like this. Playing some young players is fine, but just 2 shots on target over 90 minutes is woeful. Overpaid Charlies. Well, in that aspect, I do agree. Like, you know, we have to be winning these matches. We should be winning these matches. It's disappointing not to win these matches. Again, we need number one, we need to do better in general, but number two, we need improvements because again, I think to have 2 shots on target in 90 minutes is woeful, but I think the general play has improved. Like the way we play football is actually better than how we were playing before. But something is highly inconsistent. You know, if we can score a few goals in one match and then we go into another match and we only have 2 shots in target, we're missing a little something there. I don't think it's like major crisis. I think it's something that we should be able to sort out over time. I don't think it's like I don't think that aspect is something that is like too much to really worry about because I kind of expect them to sort that out. They need to sort it out anyway, but I just feel like there's something that's just there's sort of a missing link. Something that's not necessarily clicking, but I think it's fixable. So I don't think it's I don't think it's that bad in that aspect. Um Would you be concerned if we didn't buy a goalkeeper and stuck with Onana? Please God, I hope that doesn't happen. Um, I mean, if we can do it, we probably should look to get a goalkeeper. I will say this, Almo, again. I think I would be I would probably the way I feel right now, I would be more concerned if I think we need 5 players this summer. And when I say 5 players, I'm generally thinking outfield. So when I say that, because I just don't know what's going to happen with Onana, I don't know if we're going to sell him or not. If we do, then that's good. Maybe he could be the 6th, and we could get, we could get 6 players in. But I generally think we need 5 players. And if we don't get the 5 players, and also the level of quality of the players, if they're very underwhelming, that worries me more than just specifically just the goalkeeper. Because I think it's more of a detriment to the squad. I do think he's still an issue, and he's one that we can't, with the mistakes he makes, we can't have that in the team either. That's not acceptable, and it's just not the right thing. But I'm just looking more so over as to build the squad out. We need 5 good quality players, and I think if we're unable to do that, I just think that there's no hope for Ruben next season. I don't think it'll go particularly well. So I think the window is very, very important for Ruben, but also for the overall project. But for this season, for us to have any decent chance, I really do believe we should be getting 5, minimum 5. If we could get a 6, that would be fantastic, but minimum 5. And they have to be quality, and they have to fit the system, and they have to fit the league as well. They have to be able to handle the pace and the physicalness of the Premier League, because I think that's part of the reason. I think it's a big part of the reason why we're struggling in the Prem right now, and why we're able to do good in Europe. Europe, especially in the Europa League, because it's a drop down from the Champions League. It's a bit slower and it's a bit less physical. It allows us to play the game better. So it allows us to perform a little bit better. The Prem is much stronger and much quicker, and I think we need 5 good quality players. And I think if we're unable to do that, I then I just think that there's no hope for Ruben next season. we struggle a little bit to play our game to the level that we need to play our game to succeed in the Prem. So some of the players in the squad, with the more time that they're here, they get a proper preseason, and then going into next season, the more football that they play, they'll become better in the system. And then there's holes that need to be filled in that aspect as well to strengthen the overall squad so that we can actually be a strong team. You will see next season will come and you people will be searching for excuses. There's no searching for excuses. There's no excuses. Again, you can call them excuses. I just be even-handed. And I take into account all things and all considerations. So next season could go horrible. But it depends how and why. I mean, I just said it. I think if this transfer window is deemed as a failure or one that is not a good window, I could say it right now. It's not going to go well. So it's going to fail. So the window is important. Not only to Ruben, but for the season and for the squad as a whole. So they got to get the window right. So there's always different circumstances and factors. Like, if we have a very good window and this sort of performances and results carry over into next season, then it's going to be more on Ruben, than the other way around. So it depends what happens. I won't say until things unfold like I always do. I just take it game by game, and step by step. I mean, make adjustments along the way. That's how it is. I'm just gonna call you Andero, if that's okay, Mister. Andero says we have now lost 8 games at home. Amorim whacked the Beehive, and it is chaos right now with substandard performances by so many players. The goalkeeper has to be the first change. Well, another one that thinks that the goalkeeper is the main top major problem. I mean, I do know that he is an issue, and I do know that he is a problem. Um, I I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like if we go with 5 outfield players and we strengthen the squad, we should be able to get better results and improve performances, which means more points and a better finishing. And maybe if he does stay, I think there will be mistakes in him, which will cost us some points and some games. Now, it depends how bad it is, because if he does it in, a couple matches, if he does it in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, it's a certain amount of points. If he does it like he did in the Champions League, where he basically single-handedly lost us the Champions League and almost lost us the Europa League, and he's done quite a lot this season in the Prem as well, and it's sort of a bigger issue. I have the general feeling that I kind of want to try and listen. If we have the money and we have the availability to do it, then do it. But if we're sort of limited and we can't really do it, I would probably try to get the 5 outfield players and sneak by with him for another season, and just hope, and kind of pray that it goes well with him. But yeah, he is sort of an issue, because we need a goalkeeper that is consistent, in stopping shots and saving, and he hasn't been that. So you can't have that. You can't have an inconsistent goalkeeper. Grace says striker, left wing back 10, 8, and goalkeeper. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. But I did read that he wants striker, possibly a wing back, a 10, an 8. I think they said a center back. And the goalkeeper is one that we don't really know. They said he might be sold. I read this morning or last night or something like that they said that if they get an offer of 20 million plus, or minimum 20 million, they'll sell him. So we got to see what happens. so it depends. We need Ancelotti now. Well, Ancelotti's going to Brazil, so bring in Ancelotti, bring in Alonso, hire some competent and adaptable. Well, all right. Well, let me tell you, if you bring in Alonso, the same shit's gonna happen because Alonso plays a similar system, and you're still gonna have to change the players, and there's still gonna be an adjustment period. So, I don't think. And Alonso's going to Real Madrid, and Ancelotti's going to Brazil. So we have Ruben Amorim. So, almost as sort of an issue. Have you been watching him this season? He's sort of an issue because he doesn't make mistakes every game. When he makes mistakes, he makes very bad mistakes, and it costs us matches. But I feel like a lot. I feel like that's sort of minority-ish. I feel like the majority of the way we've lost matches, it hasn't all, it's not more him than it is the opposite way around. So that's why I say it's sort of an issue, because I understand that it's an issue, but I just think that in terms of the squad as a whole, if we were to get 5 players and really strengthen the squad much deeper in that way, we should maybe be able to perform better. But yeah, I don't know. Because if you say 5 players, then you get 4 outfield and 1 goalkeeper. I would like to have the 5 outfield players, because I think we need them in all those positions. I think we need a striker. We need the 10. We could definitely use another 8. I don't know about the wing back, but I definitely think that we probably need to figure in maybe a center back as well. If we're letting go of Lindelof and Evans, we do have Heaven, and we're also playing Maz, and we could probably use Shaw. Although I literally can't rely on Shaw as much as I would like to. I just can't, because I just figure he's gonna get injured at some point. So, United need to hire me. I've played FM99, says Grace. Yeah, I mean, why not? Amorim only knows his style, and it's incompatible with the team and the requirements of the Premier League. I mean, every manager literally plays their own style. So I don't know what you're saying. Managers aren't changing their style from match to match. They literally just adjust their tactics slightly. I agree that it's incompatible with a good part of the team, but just change the team. I mean, it's not like we had a winning team anyway. So it's not like we had a team that was challenging for the Prem, and this guy stepped in and all of a sudden he destroyed it. This team was mediocre regardless. So just change the team. Just change the players. Let's just build an identity of football that's modern, because we don't even have that. We never had it. We've had it for 13 years. So I don't know. And it's not really about him anyway. Ineos have the bigger job. They're the ones that have to build out this football and this identity, and the philosophy. Again, the manager's not a king anymore. The manager's not even a manager. The manager is just a coach. He's just a coach. He picks the team, trains the players. At the end of the day, if Amorim gets sacked, they should continue with the way they're going, signing the players that they're signing. The next manager should play something similar to whatever Ruben has started, because that's the only proper process to move forward. But nobody wants to accept the fact that we went from whatever Eric Ten Hag was playing to whatever Amorim does, which are 2 totally different ones. So it's not the same. So it can't be the same. It's impossible. Alonso knows EPL 10 times better than Amorim will. You literally, why? Because he played there. Alonso's not coming, so stop talking about Alonso. You're talking about fairy tales. Alonso's not coming. Alonso is going to Real Madrid, and Carlo Ancelotti's going to Brazil. And we're not sacking Ruben Amorim, because that would cause more chaos and confusion. The guy's been here for 5 months. It's not happening. So, almost says, I agree with the 5 players, but that is not going to stop the goalkeeper from making mistakes. I mean, it's not. I mean, the only way I mean, the only way it's gonna happen is if he stops it himself, right? It's up to him. And you might argue, Almo, that he literally can't because he's shit, which I get it, I understand. But I just feel like I feel like if we just strengthen the squad in there. I mean, listen, I'm telling you, I would do it if we can, but I just think I still prioritize the outfield players a little bit more over the goalkeeper. I might be wrong, but I just feel like if the team can defend better and score more goals, we should negate that sort of shit anyway. So I just I don't know. I don't know. I've had in my mindset. I wasn't really thinking that he was gonna go, so I just had the mindset that um we need 5 outfield players. We need 5 outfield players. If we could do 6 and he's one of them and he's a goalkeeper, I'm all for it because I'm not his biggest fan anyway. And the mistakes he makes is unacceptable, and we can't have that in the squad anyway. So it's not happening. It will take years to change the team, I'm telling you. Yes, that's called the process that every team goes through. Man City took years to change the team. Liverpool took years to change the team. Took Arsenal years to change the team. I don't know what magic wand you want, but it doesn't exist, Axe. I understand it will take years. I'm ready to wait those years. It should take literally 3 years. It should take 3 or 4 years to be at the level. If we don't compete for the top 4, at least top 4 until Christmas, Baffling Baboon has to go back to Portugal. Well, it needs to be as high as possible, because you should always try to be as high as possible. Again, I said I think for where we are, considering where we finished last season and considering how this season has gone, I think he needs to finish inside the top 6, for sure. Obviously, you want to go for top 4. I think top 4. I mean, let's see how the window goes. Top 4, very, very, I think, big ask considering what we are and how we've been for the past 2 seasons or so. And the task at the job to rebuild. It's probably not going to go that smooth, so it's going to be difficult for top 4. I think it is. I'll take top 6. I'll take, if he gets us to 5th to 6th. Obviously I want better than that, but when you talk about going from 8th and 13th, 14th, or 15th, wherever we finish, to bringing us up to 6th, 5th, or the better options would be 4th or 3rd or 2nd, because who knows, even though it's unlikely. I think he needs to get as close as possible. In reality, Gray says we have to spend over 600 million on around 15 players in the last couple of years, and we are still bottom half of the table. Yes, you are absolutely right. Actually, we spent 600 million specifically on Eric Ten Hag. So, and we're in the bottom half of the table. You're right, because the plan and the operations of the club, again, I don't know how to put this in any other way. It's never just about a manager, and it's never just about spending a certain amount of money. It is a structured and full plan from top to bottom. And obviously the major amount of money, which happened in the first 2 windows for Ten Hag, and he even got the 3rd window as well. But the first 2 windows, not under Ineos, I mean, look at those players that we bring in. Look at the amount of money we paid for them. And look what they've produced. The recruitment was shit, as it has been for 13 years. So this is why Ineos has to get the recruitment correct, because the club cannot succeed without proper recruitment. So we have to get the recruitment correct. The coach has to do his thing. The players have to be up to it as well. The club has to be operating in proper ways across the board. Otherwise, it won't succeed. If you have a bad manager, good recruitment, it's not going to succeed. If you have a good manager, bad recruitment, it's not going to succeed. You have to have the full package. So until we put that together and piece it together, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So, I mean, if you look at Arsenal and Arteta, very unproven manager, took it over, right? But you know what they did? I mean, he had obviously potential because he had an idea of to play, a philosophy, but he was backed by a team of people at Arsenal. And you know what? I don't think they get enough credit because those guys did a very, very good job in terms of being above the manager and doing a proper job running the football club, identifying players, removing problem players or players that are underperforming, bringing in good players that fit the system and the style of play. They did an excellent job to transform that team. We must do the same job. Otherwise, we're not going to go anywhere. So regardless, if it's Amorim or if it's another manager, if you don't get the recruitment right, it's not going to work. So we'll keep just blaming the managers, even though it's really mostly the recruitment. But I mean, yeah. Almost says I know I don't like his attitude. The goalkeeper was scoring and he's more concerned about running over to the on fans and class class discussing. Well, I didn't like that either. I think he's a bit of a character. I think he's probably a bit of a jackass, to be quite honest. I don't like him doing things like that, especially when makes the mistakes he does. And for me also, like, again, I don't like that sort of mentality. Like we were up to nothing and he starts doing shit like that. And I'm like, the match isn't fucking over though. Like, you want to do that at the end of the match? Go ahead. When the whistle blows and the score is set in stone, go ahead. But the match isn't over. It's early. Don't act like an idiot. Stop doing shit like that. I don't necessarily like that stuff either. So almost says if we get 6 quality players, we'll get a top 4. If we don't, then we'll be mid-table. Well, yeah, I think I think if we get 5 or 6 good quality players that they don't have to be superstars, but if they fit the system, and they're good for Premier League football and stuff like that, I think we should be able to fight. We should be around 6th, fighting with those teams, and fighting it out for top 4. Whether we finish in top 4 or not will be kind of a different story because it depends, how we perform and how the season goes. But we should be able to get in and around there. I think if the window is poor or bad, or they do a bad job in terms of they don't get the correct players, or they get some signings wrong, then I think the season isn't going to go up to that high, and it's going to be a poor season. And if they sack him, I'll tell you this right now: like if they do end up sacking him for whatever reason, like if we're in 15th or some shit, it probably won't get better. It probably won't get better for that season as well. So it'll just be another disaster season. It probably won't get much better unless we're a little bit lucky. I guess it depends who they would hire, but I don't expect that to happen. I think they're going to give him I think they're going to give him the time that he should be given to prove if he actually can be successful at the job or not. And that's all I'm waiting for. Andero says every team's success starts with the keeper. Onana has shown consistently just how bad he is. I would have said he would have shown consistently how inconsistently he has been. But yeah, poor communication, positioning, and decision making. The team need to be confident on who's in goal for me. Well, yeah, listen, the goalkeeper is important. I'm gonna be honest. I'm one that I listen, obviously I know the basics of a goalkeeper. You got to save. There's some people they analyze the goalkeeper position very, very thoroughly. And they probably know a little bit more about me in terms of what a goalkeeper should be doing, not doing, etc., etc. Goalkeeper position is always one where I will admit I'm a bit more basic in knowledge of just like you either save the shot, you either save the shot or you don't. You either make fuck ups, and you let the ball go in, or you don't. Um, the goalkeeper is important, but I will say this, and I'm not taking it against Almo or Ondero or anybody else, but I will say this: the last time I listened to people that were telling me about the goalkeeper, they told me that we need to get rid of David De Gea to get a ball-playing goalkeeper because the ball-playing goalkeeper will transform Manchester United and then we will be able to challenge for the Premier League. And we got rid of De Gea and we got Andre Onana, who is a sweeper keeper, ball-playing goalkeeper that can use his feet. And those same people now hate Andre Onana and want him out of the club. And they say he's shit. And some of them are the same people that say we shouldn't have gotten rid of De Gea when they wanted to get rid of De Gea. Now, I've always said I agree that I think we did have to move from traditional goalkeeper to a ball-playing goalkeeper. But I didn't think it was the correct time because I think De Gea probably needed to stay. And also they clearly went and bought the wrong goalkeeper, which is obviously bad recruitment once again, with the way we were operating. So I don't know. I never really focused too much on the goalkeeper. Obviously, I want a good goalkeeper, and he's got to make saves. He can't make mistakes like Andre Onana has been making since he's come here. I think he's a bit too erratic, and he loses composure, and he doesn't stay focused. And I think his head is probably a little bit all over the place, which is not good for a goalkeeper. But yeah, I don't know. Um, we need to hire Ancelotti tomorrow. No excuses, no patience. Well, I don't know. Go support Brazil or Real Madrid then. Because he's not coming and it's not gonna happen. So Luman is here, back again. Good to see you, Luman. Says, can you please name the name players who were not supposed to play today, but this Amorim played them? Can you please name the players who were not supposed to play today, but Amorim played them? I don't. What do you mean by that? I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't really know what you're saying. Well, like, or I'm a little bit confused. Are you talking about like? Are you saying Bruno and like Delo or whatever? You put him on as subs. I don't know what you really mean by that. What do you mean that they weren't supposed to play? But he played them. I mean, who wasn't supposed to play? Maz only played half. I mean, Dorgu maybe. But he actually played good. I would have maybe rested Dorgu. Um, I would have maybe rested Dorgu, but actually Dorgu had a good game today. Not like the game versus Leon, so I don't really know. I don't have a problem with Ugarte playing. Um, or Ericsson. Um, it was good that he put Kobe in because Kobe needed minutes. Maybe he could have started Cheeto instead of Rasmus. I don't know. I think that one is you could probably make a big argument for it because Rasmus hasn't been performing all season. So, um, why play Onana, Lindelof, Maz, Ugarte, Garnacho, and Rasmus? I mean, for me, the goalkeeper at this point doesn't really matter. I think with Onana, actually, I'll tell you this much: with the way we played today, it was probably actually better that we had Onana in goal because with the amount of kind of trying to play out of the back, and we were stopped playing out of the back a couple times, but being there would have made another mistake with his feet. So he, I don't, I don't hate Biender on a personal level, but to me, Biender is he's no better than Onana. I mean, Onana makes mistakes with his hands. Biender makes mistakes with his feet. They both aren't good. They both don't work in a way. I don't know what. I don't see a problem with playing Lindelof. I don't see a problem with playing Maz because Maz played only a half. Um, and I mean Garnacho and I mean Rasmus, you can make a Sorry, most important, why play Ericsson today? For rotation. Just to rest people, I guess. Almost says, I don't hate anybody. I just don't think the goalkeeper is good enough to play for my club. Well, I mean, fair enough. Where are the youth and kids? I mean, Frederickson and AMASS started and played the whole match, and Cheeto came on as a sub. Yeah, I mean, he was still trying to win the match. He wasn't, you know, he's not gonna just throw the entire youth team on the pitch, just because the Premier League is finished. You know, he played. I mean, the fact that he gave Frederickson a start and he gave AMASS a start and actually let them play. He let them play the whole entire match. And he bring on Cheeto. Now, maybe you could argue Cheeto should have started just like Amos and Frederickson, but I mean, he changed the squad quite a bit. So you know, I don't really have a problem with that. We need a manager capable of molding and inspiring players, regardless of their contract payments. They're all top tier. No, they're not. The manager is the shitty one. No, he's not. We have regressed on so many levels. Number one, the players are motivated. And I don't know how you can possibly say that the manager is not motivating or inspiring the players. I don't know how you would possibly know that, because they don't perform. The performances has nothing to do. They're not walking around the pitch. I mean, Lenny Yoro is fucking diving, putting his head in front of the ball, 2 feet away from his head, taking in shots. The players are aggressive, and they're fighting till the end. So I don't understand how you can say that they're not motivated or inspired. You know, that doesn't work in any way. You're completely wrong about that. And the players are not all top tier. You're wrong about that, for sure. And the manager, you know, you could say is the shitty one. I disagree. So, I don't just think he's terrible, says I think the other one's terrible too, the Turkish one. So, well, I was just saying that, you know, like I both don't think they're good enough. Onana makes mistakes with his hands, and diving, and saves. You know, can kick the ball with his feet, but being there, he's a little bit shaky. I think he's better than Onana in terms of he can make some saves that Onana can't make. But, he can't kick the fucking ball. He can't kick the ball for his life. So he's no good either, because we need a goalkeeper that uses his feet. So we need Yildiz, Goulier, and Ancelotti. I mean, maybe Yildiz. Goulier, not gonna happen, and Ancelotti, not gonna happen. The narrative set up by Erik ten Hag and his ball playing sweeper keeper ideology at the time was too strong and convinced the fans we needed to get rid of De Gea. Yeah, but also the fans themselves. I mean, it was sort of a social media type of thing, right? And also, to be fair, like, yeah, De Gea was making some mistakes, and it wasn't like, listen, he looked bad because De Gea is not comfortable with the ball in his feet, so he did look bad, and he was sort of shaky there, and he couldn't really use his feet to play out, so it made him look bad, which I think only helped people come to the idea. But there was sort of this narrative being pushed. I mean, I always thought it was a bit ridiculous. Where, I mean, the narrative online was they were literally convinced that, like, if you sell De Gea and you get a goalkeeper that can use his feet, they said we will challenge for the Premier League. And I thought that was kind of madness, because I was like, even if it does help us play, I was like, I've always had the fear, because I've seen how bad it goes with United changing goalkeepers, and even the struggle Ferguson had. And I was like, there's just no guarantee that even if you get the goalkeeper that can play with his feet, that it's going to go fucking well. Because I was like, that's a big change. I was like, I mean, De Gea is De Gea. We know what De Gea is. He's, you know, considered one of the legends in terms of just being there for such a long time, and being a solid goalkeeper, and, you know, winning multiple players of the season and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're going to go from that to something completely unknown, and you have no clue how it's going to go. So how can you possibly say that if we sell De Gea and get this goalkeeper that can kick with his feet, we're going to go and, you know, And look how it's gone. Look how it's gone. So, to be honest, Amos and Frederickson played well. I think they have some good players, and we have some good players in them. They did play very, very well. They were the two biggest positives of today. I was very impressed by both of their performances. I was very happy with both the performances. I'm happy that Ruben Amorim gave them minutes and shots. Again, I think he's being fair. He said the other day it's not really the best time to sort of play the youth. He said we've done it when there's been injuries, but he's like there's not really the proper environment for them, and I don't want to do that sort of thing to them. But he still has included these two, which I think if you having a balanced approach, I think it's fair. He didn't do zero, he didn't overdo it. He didn't put 5 or 6 of them in the team, but he gave 2/3 because Obi came on as a sub, but he gave 2 starters. And Frederickson was definitely a surprise because I didn't even think he would get an opportunity. I think Amos was a little bit more obvious because he's been on the bench and he's been featuring a little bit more. And I thought maybe Cheeto would just start. I thought maybe those two. Frederickson was an utmost surprise, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching him today. He was very good. He took me by surprise. I didn't know much about him because I don't watch the youth. And he looked very, very strong today. And I think he did actually very well. So I think we actually have some very good youth prospects there that are going to help us going forward in building this team, because that's another aspect that I kind of didn't mix in. I mean, getting the 5 players in the summer, quality players, but also if we can get 3 or 4 youth players that really take the step up and fill a little bit more of that depth, and positions, and can offer some quality, that's fantastic. I mean, that's like that's like more than half the starting 11. So the more that we could do that, and I think Amorim is going to do it. I think when we get to preseason, I think you're going to see quite a number of kids, and I think as long as they're in and around ready to be ready, I think he's going to introduce a couple more. I do think next season we're probably going to get some more. I think it's the better process. I think it's the easier process, but it's also just the proper process. Like, you start them off in preseason, let them get a feel for it in the preseason, and then bring them along from the beginning of the season throughout the season, so they kind of are getting the hang and they make slow progress. They're not going to be the focal point. They're going to be allowed to develop and learn their game and get accustomed to it and not have all the pressure of the world on them, but they'll still be involved, they'll be learning, and they'll be growing. And get them some minutes here and there when you can, let them improve on their performances, and if they really, really do start performing quite well on a consistent basis, then you can start using them more. And I think that's how he's going to go about it. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Undero says, parrying shots straight back into the danger area, coming off your line at the right time, commanding your box. He takes too long to pass the ball out of the box. He has been a huge disappointment. I do agree that he has been a huge disappointment. I think there was a lot of hype about him. And I think there was a lot of high hopes for him, especially with that performance that he did for Inter Milan in the Champions League final. I think, a keeper needs to play 5 or 6 games in a row to get used to the team. Biende is better than Onana just by seeing the few games he's played. Not saying he's the future, but I pick him. Again, for me, the only problem with Biende is because we do play out of the back and we play in, the 3-5, the 3-4-2-1. I think Biende is just as bad, because while I do think Biende is better at stopping shots than Onana, and Biende can stop shots that Onana won't stop, Biende literally can't kick the ball. I mean, against the game in Newcastle, when he played, the goal that he gave away, I said this like 25 times, and I said I'm surprised how he has never given away a goal like that before, because he does that every single time he plays. And they're really bad. Like really, really bad giveaways. Like him kicking the ball like that and kicking it directly to an opponent is just as bad as Onana when he makes the mistakes that Onana makes in diving. So it's just they're both not good. What we really need is probably them to do some sort of Dragon Ball Z fusion type of thing, get some Patara earrings or something, fuse into one goalkeeper, and be the goalkeeper that we actually need. Unfortunately, that's just a cartoon, and we can't fuse Binder and Onana into one player. But we need a player that actually, if you were to fuse them, that's the player that we need. We need this. We need what Binder offers in positioning and saving, but we need somebody that can actually kick the ball with their feet as well. Um, Almost says I don't think these players are good enough, but I won't say they're not motivated. Yeah, I just think I don't think they're not motivated. I you know I think if you have a team and players that are not motivated, when they go down after being up to nothing, and they go down and they concede 4 straight goals, I think a team that's unmotivated and not inspired isn't gonna go and try, and they're not gonna make that comeback. So um do you seriously think if we do the same thing that we did against Leon, we're coming back? No chance. No, but we can't do that, and that shouldn't happen. And there's a couple different things that went on there. I mean, the first leg, Onana did the mistakes, and those can't happen, but they shouldn't happen. And that's not, Onana doing that has nothing to do with the team and Ruben Amorim. Again, I think we were the better team and we outplayed them, and we should have won that match 2-0, if not more. And then the other match, I mean, he set us up properly. We played properly. Um, we scored another 2 goals. We capitulated defensively. And it's been a little bit of hit or miss in the defense. Sometimes we're very strong in defense, and we do quite well. And other times, somehow we fall apart defensively, which is what we did. But also, to be fair, like, Garnacho should have scored that third goal. Maybe the game would have went differently, and maybe it would have never gotten to that. Maybe we would have never conceded the 4 goals, because maybe the game would have been closed out. Um, they, even if they scored the 2 goals that they scored, it wouldn't have been enough, and we would have won the match. So sometimes it's just fine margins, and players having to execute and perform. I mean, Garnacho should be scoring that goal regardless of who's the manager. We should have had 3. So, but I agree. Being in that situation, the point is to not get into that situation. That's the point I'm trying to say. We should not be put into those situations. So when you say things like, do you seriously think if we do the same thing we did against Leon, we're coming back? We shouldn't. The point is, we shouldn't do the same thing, because that actually shouldn't even be happening the first time. So it definitely shouldn't happen a second time. So we shouldn't be doing the same thing. So for me, the conversation stops there. It's not about, do you think we would come back again and do it again? No, because we shouldn't even get to that point. It should be nipped in the butt right there. That should never happen again. In the manner that it happened and in the way that it happened, that should never happen again. Those things cannot happen, and it needs to be eliminated one way or another. Should not happen, cannot happen. That's not acceptable on any level. Bro, in the 60th minute to the 90th minute, Leon played us off the park. We got lucky. Well, but yeah, but I'm gonna make the same argument. We beat them 3, and that's not even the whole half, because you just said from the 60th minute to the 90th minute. That's 30 minutes of one half. We outplayed them, and we were the better team for 3 and 10 and 15 minutes halves. We were the better team and outplayed them and deserved to beat them for 3 and 15 minutes. 3 halves and 15 minutes. So, yeah, we have an issue. Like, we capitulated and we blew that part. That needs to be eradicated, but it's not 100% negative. It's not like Lyon completely outplayed us in all aspects of the two-leg tie. We were the better team. We were the stronger team. We played the better football. We made the better chances. We scored the more goals, which is why we ended up winning. But, I mean, you know, being down a man and conceding that can't happen. But again, you know, one, I put it a little bit on him because I think he should have made subs because it was quite clear that some of the players were tired. And I think that's why around 60 to 90th minute, we kind of dropped off. I put that on him. That's a mistake that he made, and he probably should have freshened up because Lyon freshened up, and we clearly lost momentum there. But at the same time, I expect the players on the pitch to handle their business. You're up 2-0 at home. You should not be giving away a 2-0 lead like that to 2-2, and then you go up a man and concede a further 2 goals. That to me is completely unacceptable. I don't give a shit if we had a 10-year-old in charge. The players should be taking charge on the pitch for that. There's no way. You have a you are a professional football player. You have a responsibility on the pitch. The manager cannot hold your fucking hand every time. So I blame him for letting the team be a bit fatigued and losing the momentum. But at the same time, I still expect those players. There's no way they have a job and a responsibility on the pitch. They should not be doing things like that, especially if you want to be at Manchester United and you want to be successful at Manchester United and you want to stay at this football club. You should not be doing things like that. You cannot do things like that. So they got to do a better job in that point. Lumen says 15th loss, 15 games lost. You can categorize the lucky and unlucky losses. You actually can. You can. You can. And I could also. You actually literally can. In here. So, we were tactically dominated by Lyon's manager. No, we didn't. No, we weren't. Thanks God they got a red card. Yeah. We got a red card. They scored 2 goals after the red card. We were not tactically dominated. You put the better dude, I don't know what matches you're watching, bro. What matches are you watching? What are you watching? We were literally what don't you understand that we literally outplayed them and we're the better team 3 out of the 4 halves of normal time. We were the better team. So how were we tactically outplayed by Lyon? That doesn't make sense. They tactically outplayed us in 30 minutes of a match out of 180. Doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The first half, we were better than them. We dominated them. We gave up the game in 30 minutes, like Almo pointed out, from the 60th to 90th minute. And I blame Amorim not because of the shape or the formation or whatever. It was just because he didn't make subs. He should have made subs because some of our players were quite tired and they got sloppy. And they were making mistakes and they couldn't keep up with the freshness of Lyon. So he should have made the subs. But he obviously, he had a plan. I guess he wanted to keep on his strongest team. It backfired on him because they fell apart on that. So I'm in denial. What am I in denial about? In denial about what? You're in denial. I'm in denial? No, you're in fantasy land. You're in agenda. You're in agenda. How about that? If I'm in denial, you're in agenda. Because what you're saying doesn't make sense. So go look at the stats, go rewatch the games. We literally outplayed them 3 out of the 4 halves. And like Almo pointed out, said from the 60th minute to the 90th minute. So that's not even a whole half. It's 30 minutes out of one half. So how were we tactically outbeaten? How were they better than us in any way? Um, in any way. Um, yeah, Almo's not saying the same thing as you, Axe. Almo says the players are shit. You blame the manager for everything, and you literally say things that aren't even true, um, or don't even make sense factually. So you guys aren't even on the same page. You're saying two different things. But Almo says we didn't outplay them at all. We outplayed them in the first half. Second half, they were dangerous when they got the first goal. Yeah, but I think we outplayed them in the first leg. We outplayed them in both halves. We conceded two goals because of our goalkeeper, but that has nothing to do with how we were playing. So I think the first leg we beat them in the first half and the second half. We lost. We conceded two goals and we tied the match because our goalkeeper made two mistakes that he can never make. It has nothing to do with the rest of the team and the way we played. The second leg, we outplayed them the first half. And the second half, I think, like you said, around the 60th, 65th minute, we started dropping off. They made subs. We didn't make subs. And that's Ruben's fault because he should have made subs. He, I guess, wanted to keep on his stronger team, and he didn't really want to change it because we were in a winning position. But it backfired on him because we lost momentum. They gained the momentum, and we ended up conceding in that. And then it really dipped because they got a red card and they still scored two goals. Now, one was a penalty, but I mean, I think we outplayed them at least 3 out of the 4 regular time halves. And then we obviously made the comeback in the second half of extra time. So I mean, Lumen, I'm all for the kids, but again, you know, you might say that they're waiting for their chance, and they are waiting for their chance, and they'll get their chance. But again, with the kids, I'm always like this. Um, I think if they're ready, they'll get their chance. Sometimes they get it because we're forced into it, but I'm in no need to rush any kids. I trust them what they're doing with the kids. I think they're developing quite well. I think the ones that are being integrated, I think you see that the plan and the process that they're doing with the kids is actually going quite well because the ones that are coming in seem to be of level that they can actually keep up and they're not getting destroyed. And I also am one that I'm always pretty protectful of the kids. As much as I like them and I want them to play, I don't want to destroy the kids before their career even starts. So um, I do trust them. I think when they are actually ready, um, I think they will be given their chance. Maybe it comes in the preseason next season. You know, I think they're going to get a good run in the preseason. I think the kids are going to. I think there's going to be quite a numerous amounts of kids that are going to have a good shot. So if they, you know, you got to take it when you get it. Preseason is a good opportunity for any kid that thinks that they're ready, and they feel like they're ready. You go out there and impress, make a statement, make a claim. You know, play very very well. Put yourself in the manager's mind. Um, so you know, but again, I agree with the manager what he said. I don't think this season has been one that's been turbulent. You know, our professional first team players, experienced players, they're struggling. And it's been very torrid, and it's been one that hasn't been so positive. So I don't think it's an appropriate place to just chuck in all the kids. Um, you can't just play all kids. You have to mix it up. I think he's doing all right so far. Um, I'm 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 content with him giving Amos and Frederickson a start, and you know Obi some minutes as well. And he's probably going to continue to do so in the Prem going forward. But you know, I think if he mixed in more kids, it's not going to lead. It's not going to lead to us winning a match. So okay, if we played well, then how comes it ended up in a draw? It ended up in a draw. Um, because our goalkeeper fucked up. Uh, I mean, you know that. You know that better than anybody. We literally had the game won at 2-0. They weren't gonna score. And they didn't score. They scored off of 2 errors. So that has nothing to do with them outplaying us. That has to do with we made, or our goalkeeper made 2 mistakes. That's why it ended in a draw. But I put it this way: if Onana doesn't make those mistakes, what score does the game? What score does the first game finish? 2-0. Everybody will say 2-0. So they didn't outplay us. It ended in a draw. Because our goalkeeper made a mistake. Almost said, listen, I'm not trying to be negative. I want my team to win, but I'm telling you, if we go down 2 or 3-0 against Athletic Club, it's over. And fair enough. I think that's a valid point, Almo. I'm not even arguing with that. I mean, if we go down 2 or 3-0, first of all, that's unacceptable. We shouldn't be going down 2 or 3-0. And if we go down 2 or 3-0, then yeah, but maybe it is probably over. Because I mean, to put yourself in a position to go down 2 or 3-0, you're asking a lot from the club and the players and the team. We shouldn't be in that position. Those things shouldn't happen. Those things cannot happen. Those things are unacceptable. So if we're playing the match and they score 2-3 goals on us and we're over there trying to figure out what we're doing, well then we're fucked, and we deserve to lose the match. But when we're playing a game and we're actually playing decent and we're actually probably the better team in many ways, we do ourselves a disservice at most times, because either we have somebody making an individual error that fucks the team over and has nothing to do with the general play of the team, or we struggle to, like we did today, we struggle to put the ball in the back of the net, which obviously isn't going to help us, win the match. So there's aspects where we play very well. There's things that we need to improve on. We can't have lapses in defense. These individual errors, whether it's the goalkeeper, the defenders, or even our attackers, that shit needs to be sorted out. But yeah. So we didn't learn anything after giving a chance to Mano, Obi, Heaven, Diallo, AMASS. Well, Mano was ready. I mean, Obi, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I like Obi, but Obi hasn't really done anything since he's come in. I mean, since he's been given his chances, he out of the players you named, he's done a little bit less. Diallo was not an academy player, and Diallo was one that we bought, and he was sent on loan, and then got his chance later on, and that took some time for him to get there. AMASS is fresh and new, and it's taken him some time, but they do get their opportunities. I mean, every single one of these players, it took them time to get to where they had to get, and they got opportunities. Heaven is the only one that got his opportunity because we had injuries, and maybe it was sped up. And sometimes it does work in your favor, but sometimes it doesn't. You could have luck with Heaven because it goes positively, but we could get another kid and it could go very, very wrong. So, and I think the youth is coming anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So, Andero says, I go to every home game and many away games. You only see so much on TV. If you could see the games in person, Binder is way better than you think he is. He needs running games, but I mean, fair enough. Andero, I'm not discrediting what you're saying, but what about the fact that he literally can't kick the ball? Because I think that's a huge problem. I think it is. I mean, I've pointed that out multiple times. Like, he kicks the ball into the opponent and gives them breakaways. And the last time he did it was against Newcastle, and they scored on us. Now the other times he was lucky because he didn't concede from them somehow. But off the top of my head, he's done it 7, 8 times in however many matches he's played, which isn't a lot. I think he's played like 3 or 4 games, so it's a problem. You think that the manager looks like he hasn't got a clue? I think the manager is like me when I watch the match and he's looking at the team and he doesn't understand what the fuck is the players doing. I don't think it. I don't think he. I think he has. I think he has a clue. I think he knows exactly what he wants, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing. I think he looks mystified sometimes when he sees certain passages of play on the pitch and he can't believe what he's seeing with his 2 eyes because they've worked on shit in training and he's watching them do shit on the pitch and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Kind of like when I watched the match and they played, like when we gave up the goals, I was just like, how do you even do that? How do you even do that? I was like, how do you even do what you just did? Like, I can't believe what I just saw. I can't believe what I just saw. Like, we'll play them at their stadium in the first leg. If we go down 3-0 or 2, we're not coming back there. They're not Leon. But, well, I mean, it's fair. But I tell you, and I'm fairly confident in this, I do not expect us to go there and go down by 2 or 3-0. I don't expect it. I don't expect it. If that happens, I'll be a bit shocked, to be quite honest, because I don't expect it. I think we're going to go there, and I think we're going to put in a strong performance. What I am afraid of is stupid individual errors, whether that's goalkeeping, defending, or whatever. I think we will go there, and I think we will play a game, and I think we will be able to compete with them strongly. What I fear is conceding stupid, shit, dumb goals that has nothing to do with the way we play. Another thing that I also am a little bit afraid, because we never know with this team, and that this is the sort of problem that we have to find the consistency, is are we going to be able to score goals? Because we scored a bunch against Leon. We played Wolves. We had 12 shots today. We had however many was in the box, 7 or 5 or whatever it was, and we had 2 shots on target. So I actually don't think the issue for me is not that we're going to get completely outplayed. It's more of just, are we going to make very bad mistakes in defense, and are we going to be able to get some goals out of the chances we create? Because I expect us to play well in terms of creation, passing the ball, and being competitive in that match. I expect that to happen. That must happen. I actually don't see how. I don't see us getting played off the park against Bilbao. I think we should be beating Bilbao. I think we're better than Bilbao. I think we should be fucking levels ahead of Bilbao. Again, anybody that's left in the Europa League competition, the only one that is the issue to us is Tottenham, because they are a Premier League club. Whether they're shit or not, they're a Premier League club and they beat us twice. Everybody else in there, I think we should be able to beat them. And we should very much do so. I don't think anybody should be able to beat us. That's left in the Europa League competition. So, I don't care where we play. I don't care if we play on the moon. We should be able to beat them. And they must do so. Mano is an anomaly like Yamal or even Yoro, young mature players. They are out there, but not every player makes it. Yeah, I mean patience with the players, so gotta keep patience with them. It wouldn't surprise me if these players bottle the semifinals, so they don't have to meet Spurs, so we don't get their back if they lose in the final. That's their mentality. I think that's a bit harsh. Maybe in the past, I kind of feel like this group of players not so much. Not in that way. I think maybe in the past couple seasons. I think right now with this current group of players, I don't really feel um like they're gonna bottle the semifinals so they don't have to meet Spurs. I think they really want to win it. I think they're inspired and motivated to win it. Um, I just think that they have certain issues that need to be kinked out. That lead to lapses in our play because we're not perfect. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying we're like we're not pulling out absolute masterclasses where you say, we were absolutely flawless. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we play good for good parts of the game, but we have to do better in the other parts. We have to put in complete performances. We're not doing that yet. I think we can get there because we do good for large majority of certain games, but we're not getting over the line. You have to get over the line. So I think that will come with a little bit more time, and a little bit of upgrades to the squad. I think we're missing a few pieces that we don't have, and that we're not going to get because we need the window to be open to get those. So, uh, Grace asked me, "What other sports are you into, Eric?" Well, I like NBA. I'm not like a huge fan, but I do watch it from time to time. I'm a New York Knicks fan, so I watch my Knicks. I kind of generally like all sports, but obviously football is my sport, and that's the one that I'll watch and I know the most about. But I really like NFL. I'm big on the NFL. That's probably my second favorite sport. Is NFL. And then probably I would say basketball. I like a little bit of hockey too. I'll go watch my local team here. They're called the New York Islanders. Um, they're a bit mediocre, but yeah, I watch them. Like I like to go to the sporting events, so I have no problem with that. Like I'll go to baseball games. Like I don't. Baseball is probably my least favorite because it's a bit boring. I'm gonna be quite honest. The games take quite long. And depending on what kind of game. I mean, sometimes you go to games where they hit a lot of home runs. That way, it's kind of exciting. But if you go to a game and it's very low scoring, it is an absolute snooze fest. So, um, basketball games are good, very exciting. If you're able to go to one and watch it in person, it's good. It has a good pace to it. It's very fast paced. So it's I like that. It's good. It's quite exciting. Hockey is also another one where it's very fast paced, so it's quite exciting. There's always goals. It's kind of like a small field, and there's always goals in it. So you're never gonna go to a game where it ends 0-0. There's always gonna be um multiple goals. Usually, baseball is the one that's whatever. But I have my Yankees, so yeah, Yankees, Islanders, New York Knicks. NFL is the Patriots. Um, and then of course United, obviously. So isn't baseball just roundest but not as good? Steph is here as well. Steph, how you been? It's been a while. We haven't seen you. Um, Lion says supporting a club when they're winning is easy. When the shit hits the fan is when you see the real supporters. Yeah, I mean also just people handle shit differently too, Lions, at the same time. So some people take things better than other people. Let's just, put it that way. I mean, it is what it is. Ondaro says Obi Martin is 17. There are no expectations on him or other young lads. These young lads shouldn't be anywhere near the first team squad yet, but they have to because of what's going on here. And I agree with that sentiment. And I would also add on to that again, I don't think the fact that the first team is in such a mess that it is in, I think it would be a disservice to these young players to throw them into this disaster because I don't agree with throwing kids in an environment that is just not a proper environment for them to grow and learn. We have to get the first team under control. We have to get it structured. They have to be performing. It has to be a good environment. The locker room has to be positive. The feeling around the club has to be pretty good. That's when you can really just take a little bit more risks on the kids, because you can put them in and you know it's a good environment. You're putting them in there. Even if they struggle, they're going to have players around them that are performing well, that they can look up to, that, you know, can help them and guide them. But, you know, if our first team players are struggling themselves with themselves, they're not going to be able to help the kids as much as they should. So the stronger our first team becomes and the stronger our team actually becomes, the more opportunities and the better the environment is for the younger kids. You can give them more shots. You can take a little bit more gamble and a little bit more risk. Because if they do make a mistake, it won't be so bad. Like if Manchester United were fighting for the Prem, if we were like a, you know, first or second, and we're a strong team, we're consistent, and we're one of the best teams, and we're outperforming basically every team in all five, you know, leagues of Europe, you can throw in a couple kids here and there and in some matches, give them some minutes. You know, they make a mistake, nobody's gonna bat an eye. Nobody's gonna say anything. Why? Because nobody's even gonna give a shit. The kid's gonna have a bad game, you take him out, right? He's gonna go back away. Maybe somebody talks about him for that day, and then you know what everybody's gonna be focusing on? United trying to win the league. Or the performances of these other players. They're not really gonna be talking about these kids, but when everything is negative and everything isn't going well, and you throw these kids in, and if these kids fuck up or they make a mistake, they're also young. 17-year-olds are definitely going on social media, even though they probably are told not to. They're doing it. And you can destroy their mentality, you can destroy the belief in themselves, and they're very fragile at that age. So, Ray says lose to Bilbao in the semis or lose to Spurs in the final. I say win both. I say win both. I say we will beat Bilbao. I think we will beat Bilbao. And Spurs is the one that bothers me the most, because they're the Prem team and we lost to them twice. That's the mitigating factor for me. Other than that, I can't. There's no other reasons to say why I'm worried about them. Because it's not like they're an exceptional team. They're just as bad as us. So pretty much we're on level. The only problem that I really have is that they've beaten us twice, and they're a Prem team. I think I'm literally not worried about Bilbao. I think we'll beat Bilbao. I think we will. I think we should be able to. I think as bad as our season has gone, I think our team is still better than Bilbao. I don't think Bilbao should really be. Bilbao shouldn't. They shouldn't be beating us. They shouldn't be beating us. So, I believe that they're motivated in the first of the second half. I believe that they become unmotivated. Don't ask me why. Well, I mean, I kind of feel like I understand what you're saying, Almo, but I just wouldn't. I would say like, yeah, maybe it feels like that. I don't think it's actually that they like. I don't think they actually become unmotivated. I think it's because I don't think it's a question of motivation. I think it's a lack of focus, and just execution. Like I don't think, and maybe they lose a little bit of motivation, so maybe they lose a little bit of that stuff as well, and maybe that's what it is. But I don't think it's like they necessarily become unmotivated, because I don't think it. I don't think they're there and they're like, yeah, like let's do this, and then like in the middle of the game they're like, all right, fuck this, because that's what unmotivation is. You know what I mean? Motivation is like, yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have like a good workout, and then like you go and in the middle of the workout you're just like, yeah, I don't really feel like doing this anymore. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're just having they're just having lapses in like they just are a bit inconsistent. They just they have a bit of a drop off, but I don't think that has to do with motivation. I think that has to do with staying focused and being composed. I think they're a little bit different. I think they're motivated. Now in the Prem, yeah, maybe you could say like, yeah, they're a little bit unmotivated, because I mean, what is there really to play for except for like personal pride? And I don't think that they're again, I've seen United teams where the players down tools and they're walking. You know, that's when I say they're unmotivated and uninspired. I don't think these guys are doing that. I just think that there's more hype and there's more importance on these European matches. So maybe subconsciously they're going a little bit harder, they're doing a little bit extra because they know how important it is, and it's that feeling of importance. Whereas the Prem is just like, yeah, like, yeah, we want to win the match, but like, this is kind of just like, it's almost kind of a little bit for nothing, other than the fact of that you want to win and represent Manchester United. But winning these matches at the end, there's nothing really in it compared to the other one where there's a trophy and the possibility in Champions League. The stakes are two completely different ones, so it's a little bit of that. Uh, bu- 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 uh, saying that United are going to lose before a ball is kicked isn't a real support. It doesn't matter how you present it. Well, I mean, I try to refrain from people from saying that people aren't real supporters. Real supporters are not real supporters. I mean, some people lines are just, they, again, in the nicest way possible. Some people look at things glass half empty, and some people look at things with half glass full. And that's kind of how I feel like it is. I don't think they're being. I don't. I'm not going to say that they're like fake fans because they say that. I don't agree with it. And I don't agree with that sentiment. And I don't. I'm gonna be quite honest. I don't like it because I don't agree with it. I choose positivity, and I try to be positive always. Because in a personal belief, I think that's the better way in every aspect of life. Because I think positivity rules over negativity. At the end of the day, I think love is much stronger than hate. So I try to be positive when I can about all aspects, especially like something like right now. Like right now, we don't know what's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. We're not there. It's not happening right now. We're not playing the match. So right now, I choose to be positive. I feel like we can go beat Bilbao. I feel like we should go beat Bilbao, and I will say we better go beat Bilbao. Um, and I want them to go do it, and I think they can. Now, when it unfolds, if they fuck up or they play bad and they play shit, then obviously I can't be like, oh yeah, I'm still positive. Like, no, because something negative has happened, and now, it's not going to be, you have to deal with the negative. And that transpires to be a bit negative and then move forward. But obviously, if we go into the match, we play like shit, we get beaten, we get destroyed. When I come and do the Red Devil recap, I'm obviously going to be negative because it was a negative result, a negative performance, and I'm not fucking happy because I wanted my team to win. So I'm going to be negative in that moment. But from that point on, moving forward, um, then we'll try and go back to being positive. But Grace says she wants to see the New York Knicks. She went to go see the New York Knicks in New York a few years ago. Are they still shit? Actually, they're actually much better, Grace. They're much better. I don't know how many years ago you went, but they were the third best team in the conference. They're in the playoffs. They won their first game yesterday. And we have a very strong team. And we are decent contenders to go far in the playoffs and maybe actually win. I still kind of feel like they're not going to do it because I think just there's one or two teams that are a bit stronger than us, but the improvement that we've made from last season to this season has been monumental in terms of the where we finished and the amount of games they've won. So actually, I think they said it's the biggest improvement in Knicks history in, I don't know if it's ever or quite a long time. So there is a lot of hype right now. And they are looking quite good. So all goalkeepers will make mistakes and all have to work on certain aspects of their game. Bilbao are better side than Leon. If we play like we did so open in the previous game, we will be found out, I'm afraid. And I agree because we can't that's the point. We can't play, we can't be so open. We're not supposed to do that. That's not a thing that's supposed to happen. So we did it, and now it's on Amorim and the players to make sure that the next time we go and do this and play, that we don't do that. That you know, that's on them. I mean, we did it once. Let's not do it again. There's no reason to, you know, I would argue there's no reason to do it a first time. But if you do it a first time, at least don't do it again. So that's their job. Their job is to make sure that that doesn't happen. Isn't Oh yeah, I read that before. Steph, big up yourselves. How you doing, Steph? 16 watching, only 8 likes. Yes, can we get the likes up, please? It helps the channel grow. We greatly appreciate it. If you didn't smash that like button, please. Please do so, because it helps the channel get seen more, and we appreciate it. And we are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber and you enjoy the content, or you enjoy the community or the channel, subscribe and hit the notification bell icon so you never miss a live and you stay up to date. But back to the chat. Steph says kids needs the likes of Casemiro and Maguire, but they need a rest at the moment. Yeah, we also need a better situation around the club. I mean, 13th and having inconsistency, and having fans losing their shit, going mad on social media every day, and you know, going crazy on the players, is really the best situation for some kids, because there are some nasty people out there, and they don't care if you're 17 or 31. They will obliterate your entire existence on social media, and that has to be taken into account in today's times. You know, Spurs have beaten us 3 times this season, twice in the Premier League and that Carabao. Oh fuck, that is true. It was 3, not. Well, we definitely can't lose 4. So, I mean, if we lose 4, I just, you know, I don't even know what to say. So, um, yeah. See, Steph, this is why we need you, because you corrected me and stuff. Grace says the final is Bilbao. They will want to get into the final. They are a good team. Leon scored 4 against us at home. Bilbao are better. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch La Liga and I don't watch Lyon. As far as I'm concerned, they're both not Premier League teams. And we should be. I think the Premier League teams are miles ahead of every other European team, especially in the Europa League. And I feel like we should beat them. So Ray says United should be ashamed. Rasmus is a kid too, and they keep making him. By the way, it's not. It's it's I lost track of what I was going to say. It's by the way, it's not scapegoat, Ray. It's scapegoat, I think. Right? Or is it scapegoat? I thought it was scapegoat. Yeah, it's scapegoat. It's scapegoat. SCAPE goat. You had me saying scapegoat last time, and I was like thinking about that, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, it's scapegoat. SCAPE goat. I mean, I mean, when you say United should be ashamed, Rasmus is a kid too, and they making him a scapegoat. United who? The fans, the club itself, the manager. Like, what do you mean? Because I actually think like I actually don't think like United have a problem in terms of like the owners or the manager. I don't think the manager has ever done anything to 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 to, to put Rasmus in that position. Um, the only people that are doing that are our fans. So, um, you know, if you go online and you look at many conversations, there's many people that says Rasmus Hojlund is shit, and they say many other nasty stuff that I'm not going to repeat, but they say some horrible stuff. Um, so you know, I don't think I don't think that the rest of the club is doing anything. I think a lot of our fans are piling on top. Which I actually, you know, listen. You don't have to like a player. I don't like when this happens in the fan base. You know, the thing that's happening to Rasmus is kind of the similar feeling like how they did to De Gea, where at the end, because De Gea was being forced to play with his feet, and everybody was just like, yeah, fuck De Gea, and threw him to the side, and everybody just at every opportunity was clipping up De Gea and putting him on social media and just saying how shit he was. And I was like, you guys, I was like, I find that quite disgusting. And I was like, we're usually not like this. But I'm like, I find that quite disgusting. I was like, you don't have to like him and you think that De Gea, should go. But you don't have to be treating, especially a player like De Gea, you don't have to treat him like that. And I just felt like the way that he was treated online by our fans was quite disgusting at the time. And I kind of feel like they're doing the same thing to Rasmus. Now, Rasmus hasn't been here for as long as De Gea. And, he hasn't done things that De Gea has done. But I just think there's a certain way to handle things. And I think you could tell that the fan base has actually gotten to a point where it is quite toxic because I mean, I felt bad that when Xerxes got booed, I thought that that was despicable. Um, he didn't deserve to be booed. There's many other players. I think fucking Sancho is a player that deserves to get booed for what he did. I don't think Xerxes deserved to get booed. The fact that he was booed, I think that wasn't right. And you don't have to like Rasmus. You don't have to say he's a good player. You don't have to think that he's a good striker, and you could think that he should be sold. That's all fine. But the way that they talk about him and the way that they say things about him it's actually quite disgusting. I don't agree with treating players like that. You don't have to like the guy. You can say he's shit and we should sell him. That's fine. But the other things that they say about him is just like, and it's at every chance. And they take time out of the day to run up clips so they could get some likes and say, look how fucking shit our player is. And you know what? Nobody's gonna like this, but I'm sorry. I wish just a little bit. I wish we would take maybe just the smallest page out of Liverpool's book because they don't do that to their players. I mean, Darwin Nunez is absolutely shit. Darwin Nunez was an absolutely horrible signing. He is a laughable player. He is garbage, like straight garbage. You won't find a Liverpool player saying the words that I just said. A Liverpool fan. You won't find a Liverpool fan saying that. They protect their own. I wish we did that a little bit better. Even though we know that they're not good enough, like we do damage to our own players as well because we start agreeing with the rivals so that we don't get bantered or we don't get laughed at. But I don't know. We haven't lost against Spurs for 3 times in the season since 1930 or something. Yeah, we haven't done a lot of things in a lot of times. We also haven't won a Premier League in 13 years. So, you why didn't Delo start? That's a prison sentence for Amorim. He needed a rest. We knew that he wasn't going to start, or good indication because Ruben said yesterday that Delo was quite tired. And he did say that Delo, is one that is always usually ready to go, kind of like Bruno, like always fit, always available. But yeah, I think Delo needed a rest. He's played many minutes. He played the entire match, last match. Him and Bruno. Bruno was absolutely dead after the Lyon game. Lumen says Arsenal winning with their kids in the UCL, and we want to rest our kids. Yes, I'm so glad, Lumen, you said this. I'm so glad. Not because I want to, stick it back to you, but because I've seen this argument made in many different places. And again, I think the concept of the fact that Arsenal are a much stronger team than us. They've been more consistent. They play better. And they've been under the project of Arteta for, what is it, 5, almost 6 years now. So their squad is much more built out. They're in a much stronger position. They're a lot more confident. The environment is a lot better. So you can play the kids in that environment and you can go on to do some good things. What you can't do is be a team like Manchester United, where our fan base is toxic at many times. We're angry, we're pissed off, there's no patience. The first team is playing like dog shit. We're 14th in the Premier League and we're highly inconsistent. And then you want to go and put in the kids and say, yeah, go win the Europa League for us and also make sure you climb 10 spots in the table. It's not going to happen. So again, processes. It's not the proper time. It's not the correct environment. We need to get the team to us. We need to have a solid foundation. We have to have a strong base. We have to have a better environment for the kids. I mean, When we used to do it under Fergie, our teams were strong. They were consistent. They were, it was the perfect environment for them to be able to come in and grow. Um, Now is not the time. A team like Manchester United that everybody says 15 losses and 14th is 110% unacceptable. You're going to throw a bunch of kids in because that's going to go quite well. Because let's say we put on 7 kids in the next Premier League match and they get smashed 5-0. And we have our 16th loss of the season. How's that going to go for them? You think nobody's not going to abuse them? You might not abuse them, but I tell you what, there's many people out there that will abuse them, and they're going to say that they're shit, and they say that they should be sold, and they shouldn't play for this club, and they're garbage, and send them back to the reserves, and this and that. They don't deserve that because they have nothing to do with us being in this position, but they will get that brunt of the blame. United should play all their matches at night. They seem to perform better under the lights. I like the night matches better too. I don't like these early matches. They're 9 a.m. for me. Sometimes they're at 7:30 in the morning. I don't like the day games. I really hate the day games. I like the night matches. They're in the afternoon for us, so 3 p.m. I like those matches a lot better. So I agree. Can you be positive even when reality is real and negative? I mean, I can be positive that about having hopes to go win the match. Reality is if we go in the match and we lose 3-0, you can try to be positive, but it's a negative situation. You got to deal with it. So you deal with the real. The real would be negative, but it hasn't happened yet. So I understand the league isn't any good, but we've done quite well in the Europa League. I feel strong and confident about the Europa League. And I feel like we actually can go and win it. I don't see why not, because I think I separate the two. I think the Premier League is the Premier League, and I think the Europa League is the Europa League, and we've been performing differently in both competitions. We're one team in one competition, we're another team in another competition. So I think we're actually a quite good team. In the Europa League, we've done quite well. Ruben has done quite well in the Europa since he took it over. I mean, we were 14th in the table. He took us to third. We're undefeated. He's kept us undefeated. And we're in the semifinals. So I'm quite positive about the Europa League. The Premier League is the one with the issues because it's been highly inconsistent and it hasn't been good enough. And we need to improve there. So Asandro says Rasmus Hojlund should have been purchased as a developmental player. Absolutely. And that's what he was supposed to be. He came in at 20. He was asked to be our complete number 9 right from the word go, which is ridiculous. He needs to develop. Well, we might have destroyed him by now because I mean he just looks he looks like he has no confidence in nothing at all, which can do some pretty serious damage to players. Um you know, it can hinder them quite a bit. So, but you're absolutely right. He was always supposed to be. I mean, that was the plan when we signed him anyway that season. That plan was supposed to be sign the 20-year-old, sign an experienced striker. We never signed the experienced striker because Richard Arnold and fucking John Murtaugh and Eric Ten Hag doing whatever they were doing. Nobody knows what they were doing. They don't know what they were doing because they clearly everything they did, they got it wrong. All the recruitment wrong. All the players that they bring in, pretty much all bad. Haven't gone well. Overpaid for players. And just complete disaster all over from well, that whole thing, complete disaster. But the plan that was given to us originally was young striker, experienced striker. We spent 70 something million on the young striker, then said that we can't afford the experienced striker, and then didn't get one at all. So again, bad planning, bad poor execution by the club in terms of recruitment, which leads to poor results on the pitch. Steph says if players think they are going to lose games, they will almost certainly lose them. I would like to think mentality monsters like Casemiro will lead us to Europa League. Well, I think they're very motivated to win. I think they believe that they can win it. Again, I just think that we're in transition. We're in a progress of transforming. So we're not perfect. but you know, we're not. Listen, we're not putting out 100% master classes. We do good. We have issues and periods in the match. We're not doing complete 90 minutes. I think we're doing better because I think at one point I used to complain that the team was only giving us 20 to 30 minutes. I think they're giving us more now. I think we're getting a good maybe 60 minutes, maybe a little bit more out of the team now, but we're still not getting the full 90. But I think at one point, I swear, I was under Ten Hag, I was literally saying the team is literally giving us 20 minutes of football a match, and that was it. I think we're getting much more now, but we're still not hitting 90. We need to hit 90. We need to get there. But I think we've made some progress in that area. But we need to we must do better because it's the only way we're going to succeed. So, um, you guys want 6 new players who are staying in the team from the present team. Well, 6 new players. I mean, for the fact of that, like we're gonna get rid of Rashford, right? And we're gonna get rid of Rashford. Sancho should be going, and Anthony should be going. We're also gonna get rid of Lindelof. Johnny Evans is going if you want to count him as a player, but he's part of the squad. Malacia is gonna go. That's 6. Ericsson's gonna go. That's 7. And that's basically the ones that are set in stone, pretty much. Now, we could possibly potentially maybe sell the goalkeeper, maybe sell Rasmus Hojlund. Garnacho might be sold as well. Not really sure how those are going to go. They can go one way or the other. You can make an argument for if we should, if we shouldn't, but for sure, guaranteed, 7 people are going. So we need, and you know, Rashford's on loan, and Anthony on loan, and Malacia is on loan. But Rashford and Anthony, we didn't even get a replacement for them. So we just got them out of the squad, and we didn't even fill necessarily their spots for the remainder of the season. So we're technically short 2 players than we actually should be. So yeah, 6 players, outfield players, striker, number 10, take another midfielder, some type of a center back, and then I would go between a wing back or a goalkeeper if we can, something like that, somewhere around there. But I'm definitely set in stone on definitely need a striker, regardless of whatever you do with Rasmus, whether he stays here or not. Striker, regardless, doesn't matter. Even if Rasmus had 20 goals this season, I'd still say striker. Another number 10. And we could use another midfielder, for sure. And probably a defender, but for sure the striker and the number 10. Onana is staying, says Lions. Well, he may be. He may be. It's all about football IQ. We have many players who have weak mentalities. I've been watching United since 1985, and this is by far the worst I've seen in terms of mentality and quality. I do agree. They are a bit weak mentally. But it's again, it's not specifically just for this team. We've been saying this for couple of numerous amounts of seasons now, which is why I've been arguing we need to transform the team. And number one, you start by doing that by getting some of the players out because they've just been too far through deep in the shit, and you're not going to be able to clean them off from it. Like they've suffered too many mediocre performances, too many just losses, too many horrible defeats. I think they've kind of been infected by that sort of cancer. And some of them are irredeemable of that. Some of them, they just never had it to begin with, and when we recruited them, we didn't take that into account, so they can't handle the pressure of Manchester United. They can't handle Premier League football. They can't handle the scrutiny. And maybe they can't handle, criticism or backlash, and you have to be able to handle those things to play at Manchester United. So I think, some of it is just when we were recruiting, we didn't take those things into account because we did bad recruiting. And yeah, it just needs to be sorted out. I think there is some players that they are, the team is still a little bit weak mentally. I think I think they seem a little bit stronger than maybe before. Some periods they seemed very, very weak. I think they're a little bit, but they're not strong enough. They're not strong enough to be the best and to win the most, and to win the most important trophies. You have to have an unbreakable, rock solid, consistent, strong mentality. We don't have that. I think there's times where it looks strong, there's times where it looks weak. It's inconsistent. It needs more. It's not there yet. I think there's some in there that we can work with and we can build up on and improve, because I don't think it's all 100% just weak, but I think there's gaps and holes in it, and those need to be fixed and fortified and made strong. So getting some players, which getting some new players with some strong mentalities and good attitudes will do wonders for the squad as well. Um, Buying 6 more players, that means on room for young lads. No, it doesn't. I think that's nonsense. I think with the season that we have, the injuries that we have, the amount of games that we play, I think that's nonsense. I think they should all be able to fit and they should all be able to get minutes. There's only so many, there's only a handful of so many kids that are actually ready anyway. There's only so many of them that it's gonna go maybe good. I mean, not all the kids are gonna go well either. I mean, I think we've had a decently good run in terms of the fact of people like Menu and even Garnacho, and AMASS looks like one, maybe he's coming, and maybe Heaven, and maybe Frederickson as well now. But listen, not all of them, it's not going to go well for all of them. Some of them, they might come into the squad, they might just not be good enough. They might not be ready enough. We might have to actually, kind of pull them out and maybe loan them, get a little bit more experience somewhere and see what they do and how they develop. I think we've been a little bit lucky that so far the ones that we seem to have pulled in have gone actually pretty well, but it is literally impossible for that to keep going without 1 or 2 failing. So I think we have a good amount on our hands right now that we're looking after and we're looking for, and are on the precipice of really making a push. But there's also, I listed 7 players that are going. I mean, only 2 of them are sales, or 2 or 3 are sales. The rest are, free contracts are up. So there's players that we might also sell. So I think we need 5 players regardless, because I think there might be even more players. I mean, we might still sell Casemiro. We might still sell Garnacho. We might sell Rasmus. We might sell somebody we're not thinking about at the moment. Maybe they sell Lizandro or something. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna exactly do. So they might sell 1 or 2 players that we're not, that we think might stay or might not go. They might sell Onana. So there's room for players to be sold as well. So I think we need 5 in, regardless. Getting rid of 7, and I think we have plenty of room for the kids to come in. They should get opportunities. Stuff like that. I think I don't think it'll hinder their. I never really buy that it hinders their progress, because there's no room. I think there's plenty of room. We play tons of matches a season. There's always injuries. We need as much depth as possible. And I actually think it's good for them as well, because if they take a little bit of a back seat, there's not really focus on them. They can focus on their game and develop as a player. I kind of look at it the same way as Maguire, right? Maguire was shit for many seasons. When we took the captaincy off of him, everybody kind of, and he went away for a little bit because he wasn't starting anymore and he wasn't necessarily playing, and people thought he was going to get sold as well. It just allowed him to focus on himself and his game, and he actually became a better player for it. And I kind of look at the youth as the same way. Like, they might be playing not a ton of minutes. They might not be on the bench every game, but they're in and around there, and it just allows them to focus on themselves and their performances. Yeah, the player's mentality is because of the manager. Okay, yeah. Well, I know that's full of shit because you literally won't say that about Eric Ten Hag, and they had worse problems under Eric Ten Hag. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. Go ahead and keep blaming Ruben Amorim for things that are literally not his problem. I mean, the team, the United has had players with weak mentality and a team with a weak mentality since Solskjaer or more. I don't even know. No, Mourinho. Actually, to be fair, Mourinho, they were quite toxic. They down tools. Pretty much was from that point on. From Mourinho went to Solskjaer. They did it a little bit less to Solskjaer because he's a nice guy and they liked him and they didn't really want to disrespect him, but they didn't take him seriously and they didn't really trust him. And they did it to Eric Ten Hag as well. Same thing as Eric Ten Hag. You know, going into matches, getting absolutely battered and absolutely destroyed. But that's not on Eric Ten Hag, though, is it? Right, Axe? No, that's not on Ten Hag. When the players have a weak mentality and we get absolutely destroyed, by Liverpool or by Manchester City, and we get completely embarrassed. That's not on Ten Hag, right? Um, because the team had a weak mentality and they got absolutely obliterated. You I'm calling you out because you're not being fair. So you're not being fair. You're being you're actually being agenda driven because again, the mentality thing didn't start under Amorim. It's been here for managers. It's a club issue. It's a club problem. Amorim didn't create this situation, and nobody's gonna walk in, snap their fingers, and be like, "All right, you're all strong. You're all warriors now, and you're gonna go out there and fight." And you're never gonna have a moment of weakness anymore. It doesn't happen like that. You got to rebuild it because it's been absolutely destroyed and it's crumbled on the ground. Um, so yeah. The reception Rasmus gets at Old Trafford is mixed, mainly good support based on his worth ethic and that he is a tier. There's a striker in there, just needs to learn off an experience. I think so. That's why I'd give him another season. Just put him on the back burner. Go get another striker to bear the load a little bit, and I would make it an experienced striker. I wouldn't go get the lap. I would go get Gyökeres, Osimhen, whoever it is, somebody experienced, somebody he can learn off of, somebody that's going to take most of the pressure and most of the focus. Because if you get that type of player, like if you get an Osimhen or you get a Gyökeres, everybody's going to be talking about him and they're going to put all the pressure on him. Rasmus is going to be a relief player, and they won't put like if we're struggling to score goals they'll put more of the blame on Osimhen or Gyökeres because they're supposed to be the main guy and they're supposed to be scoring all these goals. So I think we gotta go with that. Yeah, but Bruno, I mean, we don't do it too. Rasmus is the striker. I mean, he had good chances today. He missed them like bad. Like he can't get on the end of the ball. He's lacking confidence. I mean, it's just a statement of fact. He had opportunities today. It wasn't like last match, and he couldn't do it today. He's lacking confidence, and he's out of form, and he's had a very bad season. Like I'm not babying him here. This second season, it's been very bad. Sometimes he doesn't get service. Sometimes he gets service, and he still can't buy a goal. Um, but he had multiple opportunities. But so did Bruno. I mean, but he was just more part of the fact that I said that we had five shots inside the box and we only had two shots on target. Not good enough from everybody. Um, but as the focal point for the striker, I mean, it's just sad to see that you know today he got more chances and more opportunities. And no matter what he does, it just seems like it's not working for him this season. I don't write him off. Do I come on here and say Rasmus Hojlund is the most shit striker I've ever seen play for Manchester United? Fuck him and sell him and kick him out of my team. I don't do that. I just say what it is. I'm being fair. I'm being fair and I'm being nice about it. I don't come here and say Rasmus Hojlund is I could say many things. I could say Rasmus Hojlund is a fucking useless roll of toilet paper or some shit. You know, fuck him and get him out of my. I don't say those things because I don't believe in that. I just say that again. He had a couple opportunities today. It's not working for him. It's not happening. He couldn't get on the end of the balls. I really wanted him to score. Didn't happen. It's been a really bad season for him for multiple reasons. So, in my opinion, he's got to take a seat on the back burner. We need another striker regardless. I don't care if he was scoring 20 goals or 30 goals. We don't have McTominay, so we have Rasmus now. No, I mean, McTominay, listen, McTominay scored goals, but McTominay couldn't play midfield. Um. Anyway, Amir says in Amorim we trust. Yes, sir. Um. Almo is the king of words. It's funny that you two are hyping each other up because you guys literally don't say the same things. You do understand that, right? Like, Almo is willing to give Ruben Amorim a chance. You want to sack Ruben Amorim 3 months ago. So you guys literally are bigging yourselves up, and you do understand you guys are not even saying the same things, right, Axe? You like Axe wants to kick out Ruben Amorim 3 months ago. Almo I Almo is actually fair in what he says, and Almo actually is still willing to give the manager a shot. So I become Amorim apologetic. No, I mean no. No, I haven't. You become Amorim agenda driven. That's what you are. Because they replaced him with your buddy Ten Hag. That's what it is. I'm gonna tell you this, Axe. I haven't said this to you, but and I've been real nice about it. But you've been doing this ever since they sacked Ten Hag. You hate Amorim because he replaced Eric Ten Hag, and you didn't think that Ten Hag should get sacked. So now you put it on Amorim, and it's unfair to the manager. You know, it really is because Ineos appointed him. So you want him to fail so you could say fuck Ineos because you don't like Ineos, and you want the whole thing to collapse because you wanted Eric Ten Hag. And you know, I don't really understand that. I don't. But you've done it since day one because when Ten Hag got sacked, you went missing from this channel because you were so upset after I said that he should get sacked. You were so upset, you went missing from this channel, you went MIA, you came back, and right off the bat, you started having a go at Amorim. You didn't even give him a shot from the beginning. And I was being nice because I didn't want to call you out like this, but I'm a little bit tired of it because you're not being fair. All right? Again, I don't have a problem with criticism, but you literally are not fair. You are literally just have an agenda against this manager. And I don't stand for agendas. You don't have to like somebody, but you have to be fair, and you're not fair. I don't think you've ever said one decently good thing about this manager since he's come here. Not once. Yeah, since day one when he couldn't beat Ipswich away. Yeah, that's right. Amorim is useless. Your manager didn't do anything either. What did he do? He won an FA Cup. He won a Carabao Cup. He finished 8th, and he started the season shit. But Ten Hag can do no wrong, but Amorim is the worst person ever in the history of the world. Come on. I supported Ten Hag for 3 seasons. 3. Well, 2 and whatever this one is. Supported him, backed him, defended him. When everybody hated him, when people said he should get sacked, and I did it. Because why? Because I'm fair, and I give them opportunities to prove themselves. But you know what? In my opinion, in my eyes, like I said in the beginning of this show, as the manager, in the beginning of the season, he had one job, and that was to start the season strong and have a good start in the season. And he failed in that, and it was absolutely abysmal. It was terrible, and he had to go. He couldn't stay. He had to go. So now we have a new manager, and I will do The same thing that I've done with this manager, I've done it for Erik ten Hag. I've done it for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I didn't even want to give him the job, but I gave him 2 to 3 seasons to prove what he could do. Didn't even want him there. Did it for Mourinho. Did it for Louis van Gaal. And even for Moyes, I felt like they shouldn't even fire Moyes after 8 months. I felt it was wrong. I felt like maybe they should have gave him another season, even though I didn't want Moyes anywhere near this club. And I didn't want Moyes as the manager because I didn't think he was good. But they deserve time. But yeah, since day one, you take it out on Amorim because you're mad at Ineos because they fired Erik ten Hag. So you want Amorim to fail, and so you can say Amorim failed and Ineos are shit. And you know, I just don't get that. Why can't you put that to the side? You know, because actually, if Amorim succeeds and Ineos succeeds, that means Manchester United succeed. So we're actually good. We're good if that happens, not the other way around. I'm not. You know, I don't sit here hoping and praying that you know, every day something bad happens so I can say how right I am. You know, he may not be EPL level. Well, we don't know that. That's the point, Rajat. Thank you. Give him time. Like, the guy's been here for 5-6 months. I don't get it. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. Like, you know, the guy's not going to get everything right, and we have major changes. You know, I don't know. It has nothing to do with Ruben Amorim. We said the same thing before Erik ten Hag even came into the club. We said this club has to have major changes from top to bottom. Well, we got some of the changes because we have new people kind of running the club, and we have sort of a new structure with an actual director of football and a technical director, and we didn't have those positions before. We're scouting differently. We're bringing in new profile of players and stuff like that. So, you know, I like that we've changed direction. That, for me, is a start. I'll go with that. It's better than doing the same shit that we've done over and over again. I don't know about Ruben Amorim. I'm willing to give him time. Prove to me what you can do. If you fail, he fails. So what? I don't really give a shit. I'm not, you know, I'm not a Ruben Amorim fanboy. I didn't ask for Ruben Amorim to come in. I didn't ask for him. If you go back to the videos in the summer when they talked about sacking Ten Hag, I said I'm not sure about Ruben Amorim. I don't know how he would do. I don't know if he would succeed. And he wasn't my number one choice to come in to replace anyway. So it's not like, you know, it's not like he's like, you know, I don't put him on a pedestal. He's not God. I just give the guy a fair chance. Like, you know, it's ridiculous. Like, people want things to happen immediately, and it's not going to happen. And you think just because you put somebody else there differently, it's going to happen much quicker or instantly. And it's not. It's not. Yeah, 3-hour live. We're here because we're dedicated. And actually, we're probably going to get off because it's run its course now. And it's Easter, and I gotta eat, and yeah, we got, you know, we got things to do. But we didn't even do player ratings, but actually the conversation was so good that it was better than the player ratings. So forget the player ratings. Let's see. Let's do the schedule. Where's my calendar? All right, so we are here 20th. I'm gonna be quite honest. I'm gonna take tomorrow off, and we'll come back because when are we playing Bilbao? On May 1st. But we actually don't play midweek next week. We only play on the weekend. So I think what we'll do is we will do a stream Tuesday instead of tomorrow. We'll do a stream Tuesday, like normal time, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll do that. Thursday. When are we playing? Sunday? All right, let's start off on Tuesday first, and I'll let you guys know about the rest of the week. We're obviously going to do Fridays because Fridays are, you know, the Friday shows. We like the Friday freestyles. You know, you guys dictate what we talk about. It's a little less news driven and a little less Eric agenda driven. So you guys dictate the shows and what we talk about, and we could literally talk about anything. I mean, try and keep it United related for the most part till the end, and we could kind of freestyle and Q&A or whatever. So Friday we'll have the show as well, which will be at the same time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll see, maybe I'll fit in another stream on either a Wednesday or a Thursday. I gotta see, depending on how I'm feeling and what I could fit in. But then obviously we have the Red Devil recap on Sunday because we're going to be playing Bournemouth. Another one. It's going to be at the same time as this one today because the match is at the same time. So there's that. So yeah. So no stream tomorrow. I'm gonna take Monday off. I gotta sort some things out. So yeah, we'll take tomorrow off. I gotta start something tomorrow anyway. And then we'll be back Tuesday. We'll do a little bit of topical stuff, news and whatnot. And then I'll keep you guys updated for either Wednesday or Thursday, possibly. But for sure, Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Red Devil recap, same time as this one. So after the match on Sunday. So we're going to go like that. And I'll let you guys know about that. What's the chat saying? Rajat said, can do Real Madrid watch along. Oh, yes, there is. Oh, shit, right. Yeah, I don't like to stream when there's Champions League, is there? Oh no, Real Madrid. There's no Champions League, is there? On Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wait, there's actually Premier League match. Oh, they're doing makeup games. Yeah, there's no matches. There's no. All right, yeah. So we could actually do the show on Tuesday. All right. Keep the show on Tuesday. Yeah, I don't like to do the streams in the Champions League matches because they seem to withhold news and people are watching the Champions League matches. They're not watching content on YouTube and people want to watch the matches and stuff. So I don't like to. That's why I was skipping like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, the last like week or so. So. Yeah, we'll be live Tuesday. We're gonna take off Monday. I need a day in between. What happened if we have start of the season next year and blame on transfer window, then sack Amorim? What happened if we have start of the season next year and blame same start of the season next year and blame on transfer window, then sack Amorim? Well, I mean, it would just be a disaster, really. If we have a bad start to the season, I mean, but bad start to the season, he won't get sacked. If it was so bad, he would make it. It probably wouldn't. They probably aren't gonna sack him. Like, one, I don't think they'll sack him. But two, if it is that bad, they probably wouldn't sack him until halfway through the season, because I think they're gonna give him the time to do so, unless it's like so bad, unless we're like in literally 20th, like I don't know, we played 7 games and we have 2 points. That's not even half. I mean, if we played 15 games, what do we have? It's like about 36. So if we played like about 16 games and we're in like 19th, then yeah, they'll probably sack him. But if it's a shit transfer window, I mean, the fans aren't gonna. I mean, if it's a shit transfer window, it's a shit transfer window. So, I don't think it'll go like that. I think if it's a shit transfer window, I think people are gonna blame the window, and they're not gonna blame Ruben Amorim so much. I think if the window is good, and it's bad, they're gonna blame him more, which makes more sense. Or we have a good window and he does good, and then we don't have to blame anybody, and we don't blame nobody. But we have a decently good season, and it'll be better. I mean, I don't know why everything has to be so negative. I don't understand why we have to think about, like, what if it goes wrong. We didn't even get there yet. Let's see what happens. Let's see who we get in the window. Let's see who we bring in. Let's get the preseason. Let's see how they look. Let's start the season. Let's see how it goes, and then, you know, we'll talk about it from there. I mean, all this, what happens if, you know, this happens, and what happens if that? I mean, I don't know. What happens if the world explodes the day before, you know, the Premier League season starts? You know, um, you know, let's just get there. Let's just get there. Let's get there. Let's give this guy some time. Let's get him a couple proper processes. You know, let's get him a transfer window. Let's get him a preseason. Let's see what happens with the team. And we'll see how it goes from there. When you see the bottom of the bottle rate, means you've had enough. Well, listen, I don't think. I mean, I don't think Ray's been that bad with the things he's saying. I think he's been fairly. He's been fairly all right with the things he said. I don't think he said anything too crazy. He's a little bit opinionated, you know what I mean? But he's a bit heavily opinionated. But, you know, lines, you don't have to agree. But, you know, just don't take the rage debate. You know, don't take the bait too much. You know, you don't have to agree, but let me do that. That's my job. That's my job. My job is to call out people when they overstep. You know, I want you guys to, you know, you have a good conversation there. Don't get too feisty in there. I want you guys to get along. So, I know it's just banter. It's okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Sometimes it's hard to tell lines. Not from you. I'm saying just because it's in text. You know, you write it one way, somebody reads it the other way. You know what I mean? It is. Ray. He's just joking. He's just having a bit of fun. You know, he's just having a bit of fun. He's not. He didn't mean it in a serious way. He's just having a bit of a banter. You know, he's just having a bit of jokes. Um, so no, yeah, it is about different opinions. We don't trash one another. Yeah, we gotta keep it a little bit calm. Listen, we could disagree. But yeah, try to, you know, have respect for each other. You don't have to agree with each other, but have respect. Especially if somebody hasn't, you know, disrespected you in a certain manner. Don't disrespect. I'm Scottish. Sarcasm is in my blood. Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just letting you know, lines. Like, I get that, and I'm also super sarcastic. Maybe not so much on this channel, but in real life, I'm a very everything that comes out of my mouth is sarcasm. But the thing is that what I'm trying to say is, just you guys in the chat, keep in mind, when you say something, in your head, you might be saying it sarcastically, but because it's on a screen and somebody reads it, they will read it in a different way than you said it. So you might be saying it jokingly funny, like, you know, like a pal would, like, come on, like, when you hit the bottom of the bottle, that's to stop, Ray. Like, come on, you know what I mean? You see how it sounds like you're not being serious? But when you type it and then Ray reads it, he might read it in a tone where he's like, oh, that's not very nice. You know what I mean? Because he's saying it in a manner like, oh, like, I thought we were cool, you know? And why is he saying it like that? But that's what happens. That's why I don't like texting people. I'm not a big texter. I call everybody. I call and I have conversations with them, and I like personal interactions. I don't even like this, to be quite honest, because you guys say things. That's why we're gonna get the call-ins going, so we could hear, you know, what you guys say and how you say it. I think voice communication is very, very important. To hear somebody's tone, to hear them in the manner in which they say things, with a little bit of the emotion behind it and stuff like that, I think is very, very important for communication. I think that's something that we're kind of losing everywhere. Because somebody could go on X and put up a post and they could write something. When you read it however your brain processes it. Um, and sometimes it's not in the tone and manner that they're saying it in. Sometimes they're just joking. Sometimes they're having a laugh. You don't take it like that. You take it serious, and then your brain starts going, Are you an idiot? Are you stupid? How can you say something like that? What's wrong with you? Why would you even do that? Why how could you even say that? So yeah, it happens. Just be mindful of that. That's all I'm saying. Like, you know, because it does happen. So what would you want Amorim to do from here on onwards? What's available to him? I mean, for the rest of the season, the rest of the season there ain't much. Considering the Premier League, there ain't much. I mean, just continue to try and improve the team as much as possible. I think we've made some improvements. Maybe give a couple more opportunities to a couple of the kids like AMASS and stuff like that. Do a little bit of rotation, and try and win as many matches as possible. But I don't think there's much that we can really do in these sorts of aspects. I think in other terms, obviously, go win the Europa League and perform and do the best possible job there. I think that's really what I'm kind of focusing on him to do, is to try and get over that line um for the Europa League. If it doesn't happen, it'll be disappointing. But really, everything that I kind of am looking towards is the improvements for next season. I want the team has to be the team has to play better in aspects. We have to be stronger. We can't suffer results in manners that the way we suffered this season. So I'd just like to see pretty much a general improvement next season. I mean, some people will put an identified target. They'll say, well, we have to finish fourth place. We have to finish third. We have to get like this many amount of points. I don't really have that. It has to be just an overall general improvement. You got to show us that players are playing and developing better. The team as a whole is playing better and growing, and we're getting better performances. We're getting better results. We're getting more points. Um, the football itself is has improved or is improving or is getting better. I would like to see, obviously we need to be scoring more goals next season. We need to be a little bit more consistent in the fact of that we can't have a great game one match, go into the next match and play like we just met yesterday. So, these things all are little improvements all over the pitch. I think they will make a big difference if you can tack a little bit here, tack a little bit there, tack a little bit here, tack a little bit there, and sort of build it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Just general all around improvements. I don't think we'll be perfect. I think there's going to be some bad moments next season. I think there's going to be some times where it's might be a little bit ugly, but it has to be the scale has to tip out where it's a lot less of that and a lot more positive, consistent, stronger performances. For sure. Um, can you check my comment, bro? What'd you say? You will work out later today, maybe. Go for a kebab. I'm on the strict chicken or rice. Chicken or rice. Chicken or rice. What if they get Gayokers, Trincao, Cunha, Diamande, and from Pong? There's probably going to be. Well, I don't think they'll do all that. Although maybe. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a good window. I'm proven striker, Trincao. All right. Um, Cunha with 10. Diamande, I kind of rate him. I think it'd be a good addition. And Frimpong would be the wing back. So yeah. Good, but we gotta see. Well, gotta see what's happening. So the only way Amorim can give us his best is if he gets a perfect trend. No, It doesn't have to be. That would be an ideal situation for him. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be. It has to be good. It has to be good because I think there's there's just some players and there's some I think our team for his system are missing some characteristics, and I don't think we'll find those necessarily characteristics. Um, but the players we have, we're not going to make them kind of develop those characteristics. I think some players have them, some players don't. I think we need to get players that fit the system. But the point about that is anyway is that I just don't think the team is good enough regardless whether he's the manager or somebody else is the manager and they have a different system or whatever. I don't think the team is necessarily good enough. So we need to improve, we need to strengthen because we need to keep up with other teams. So regardless of Ruben Amorim, the strength of our squad, we need more. We need better. We need to keep up because teams are already ahead of us and they're going to strengthen and they're going to get better. So we have to do something to keep on level par or something like that. I think it would help Ruben because it gives him more tools and more options. I think his system and formation is very interchangeable. And I think the more multi positional players that you have with quality and talent, the better it is for him because he can do a lot of mixing and matching. So it would actually be better for the dynamic of the squad as well because you can tactically adjust a lot more if you have a lot more options. Like I was talking to Grace about this the other day, and I was saying like, um, you know, I like Delo as wingback, but there's also Ahmad. And then I'm thinking, it's actually quite tough because I think Delo's done quite good there, and I think he has a good chemistry with Bruno. They have a good understanding on that right hand side. I actually think that link is very strong right now. And I'm like, but also at the same time, I think Diallo is actually very important, and Diallo actually should be in the squad. And I'm like, but there's only, I'm like, well, if you start Ahmad at wingback, you can't start Delo. And I was like, so you would have to pick one. But then I still feel like if you go with Delo, you have to have Diallo in the team. So Diallo would then have to probably play 10. And I was like, maybe you could do that. But then I was like, we also have so many options for 10. So a lot more rotation, a lot more options is better. The more that we have options in the back that we could rotate, like maybe one match we play a team like Newcastle that's a lot more physical. So maybe we need Delit Maguire, and like Euro or Heaven or something in the back. Where if we play like a smaller team, more agile team or something, maybe we can just play like Shaw, Maz, and Delit or something, or Shaw, Maz, and Maguire, or maybe you put Shaw, Delo, and Maguire. You put one big guy in the center, the other two could be smaller, a little bit more agile, better at dribbling, ball playing defenders and stuff like that. Plus the new talent because we need to get better. So, but I don't think it's the only. It's not the only way he could give us his best. I think some of it just comes with time. I think 5 months is too short, and I think the job and the task that he has to do with transforming the football, one, personnel helps, but also just time. It takes time to really understand the system. I think also it was an adjustment period for him, like him coming from the Portuguese league to kind of learn the Premier League a little bit more, understand the football a little bit more, but also understand his team, his players, what players can really play what positions, what is the extent of their ability, all those sorts of things that he did probably from November to January. And in between those times, like, yeah, we do have training, but it's like you can only do a certain level of training because we have multiple matches a week, so it's not the same sort of training. I think all that, he would have done all that learning. That's what the preseason is for. You have like a good amount of time of you have a lot of training sessions, and then you also have the preseason games. But it's a lot of time to experiment, to try things out, to see what their ability is, to be able to judge them. he didn't really have that. He was doing that in the matches from November forward, from when he took over forward, which was late November anyway. So it was really like December, January, and probably a little bit of February. It was him just kind of figuring out the league football, the style, what our players can offer, where they can play and where they can't, what's their limitations and all that sort of stuff. So it's a little bit of a slow process. So I think as we go further, um, he should have more time on the training pitch. He should be able to do these sorts of things. He'll have the preseason that he wants. He desperately wanted that because he wanted to come in the summer, and every manager wants the proper preseason. So he'll get that. He now the only positive is that, I mean, like, I know we've taken the piss in the league, but like the only positive is like now that he should have a good understanding anyway. He's much further ahead. In terms of like, if we bring him in, let's say he joined in June, he would have had to do all these things June, July, August, September. And then sometimes you don't necessarily get these things right because, again, it's training and preseason. It's not Premier League matches. Where it's gone backwards for him, but it's gone a little bit positive, is that he's seen this develop in these Premier League matches. He's got the little bit of that Premier League taste and experience and understanding of the teams in the football. And he's seen it kind of unfold in real time. So he should have a much stronger understanding, and he should have a better plan going forward. So now he'll get the window and he'll get the preseason. He should be much further ahead than that because he already started the process. So, yeah, I'm still live. I'm getting off now. They kept me on here because they asked a good question, and I felt like I had a good answer for it. So, because they were kids playing, or was it because they dominated and lost 1-0? It was undeserved because I felt like we would. Listen. I don't think we did enough to win the match. But by no means did Wolves do anything to really win the match besides score a free kick. Again, I will say I think we created more chances than them. We were the more dangerous team. We dominated the match more than them. We just played better than them in all aspects. They literally basically did almost next to nothing for the entire match, except for scoring from a set piece. So while we might have not done enough to say that we deserve to win the game, I would say if it ended in a draw, it was probably fair. We were both a little bit lackluster. There wasn't a lot of shots on goal. There wasn't, it wasn't really a shootout. It was really two teams that kind of canceled each other out with the formations, and I think we had more of the possession and we played a little bit better, but I don't think we deserve to lose. We probably should have just at least got a draw out of it. It's not maybe that's not good enough, but yeah, in my opinion, I think we played that we didn't deserve to not. We should have got a point at the very least. I think with some of the chances we made that we didn't shoot on target, I think those things have to be going on target. And then I would say that we probably should have at least had some bigger chances, which I feel like maybe we could have got a goal out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where again, I'm gonna say, like, this game today, compare this game to Newcastle. Against Newcastle, we were absolutely disgusting. We were, we were destroyed. We were outplayed. We were played off the park. We couldn't compete. We were nowhere near. That was it was an embarrassment. You know what I mean? That a match like that, I understand the anger. I understand the negativity. I understand, all of it. But a match like today, I don't. When I compare the two, I don't feel the same because it's not the same context. Yes, we lost a match. I don't want to lose matches, but the way you took the loss was too completely. It was like day and night. It was day and night. Today I felt like we were a little bit unlucky and we lacked a little bit of execution. When we played Newcastle, I felt like, we weren't even alive. I felt like they played like a Prem team and we played like a championship team. Like there was a huge difference. So So we have to give time to Ten Hag ball and now time to Amorim's system. Let's hope it works. That is how football. That is how football goes. You just, it's unfortunate for us because I think many of our fans they either overlook or they haven't realized or they just maybe they simply choose to ignore like what has been going on at our club for 13 years. I hope people understand like this is not normal operations at a football club. The reason why we are the way we are is because we have been doing things ass backwards um for 13 years. Like we have not done the correct and right thing. So the managers need to have time. Because it takes time, especially when you're doing certain things. Like when you're creating sort of a new system or a new identity of football, it's not going to go smoothly in the first season. It probably won't go that smooth in the second season, although the second season has to be better than the first. But it probably won't go that smooth in the second season either. When you're doing these sorts of transitions, it does take 3 to 4 seasons. And the problem is that prior to sort of Ineos, because they're new and we don't know what's going to happen with them yet. But everything that the Glazers and older CEOs that they hired, it was all. It was all just it was commercialism without an actual plan. The signing of all those players for all those transfer fees, there was never a proper plan in place. There was no football people putting an actual project together, and they sold it to us as a 3 year 4 year project every time, and we kept buying into it because we kept hoping. But in reality, when you look at what they did and you look at the people in charge, they actually had no plan. And unfortunately, now with down the line, 4 failed projects later, under that regime, we now have a new regime, and people really don't want to hear three more years or 3 more seasons because they're tired of waiting. But uh, like I don't know, they have to understand at some point that you know these things don't happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 1 season. It's not going to happen in 2 seasons. I actually think that some of our fans actually genuinely believe that if we change like 2 or 3 players and we change the manager, we can challenge for the title. And I just don't understand what world they're living in. I mean, have you not seen this club over the past 5, 6, 7 years? Do you not understand what has gone on at this football club? We are not there. We have to operate and execute a plan properly. And if that plan is executed properly, it's still going to take 3 seasons, no matter who it is, and no matter who's making the plan, and no matter who's in charge, because we've fucked up and destroyed ourselves so many times, so badly over so many years that nobody's going to walk in and say, all right, first season and a half, boom, we're straight back at to the top where we belong. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're talking about, let's put it this way. Let's say 13 years. You take 13 years, you don't look after your body, right? You don't look after yourself. You do whatever you want. Overeat, drink, take drugs, do whatever you want. 13 years. You think after 1 year of sobriety, your body is going to fix itself? You think after 1 year, you're going to be back into your peak physical form after destroying your body for 13 years? Because you were 1 year sober? You'll be better off than you were for the past 13 years, but you ain't going to be back to what you were before you destroyed yourself for 13 years. So, and that takes time. And the further longer you go, the further longer you stay sober, the further longer you eat healthy and you take care of yourself and you exercise. When it's 2 years, you're better off than 1 year. When it's 3 years, you're better off than that. If you follow the plan, if you have a plan, if you execute it properly. Now, that's the problem. We don't know how this plan and how this execution is going to go. So, we got to see. It could still fail. It could still fail because, again, it's football. It's a little different than looking after yourself and stuff like that. But that's kind of the general thing. It's going to take a couple years. We have to hope that these guys are doing the correct decisions and they have the proper plan and they follow through with it as well. Because one of the things United did is maybe we did have a plan, but you know what they did? They panicked every time, ripped it apart, started over from scratch. And you can't really do that either. So Ray says, "What is your favorite bin? House waste bin, recycling bin, garden waste bin might be different in America." I don't have. Do I have a favorite bin? They're all the same to me. God, house waste bin. We call it the garbage bin. Um, the garbage bin. Although I do like the recycling bin because the recycling bin ours is rectangle or whatever. Yeah, it's rectangle and it's like a green. It's like a green box rectangle, and I like to throw. If I got the empty water bottles, I like to shoot the water bottles in there. So that's fun. So I like the Lila says office waste bin, easily the cleanest of the bunch. I like those too. Um, I'm not in offices really, but I like those because when so like school, yeah, kind of like an office waste bin. Back in school, you'd crumple up the piece of paper and we had a thing over here. I don't know if it transferred around the world, but you would take a piece of paper like so, right? You crumble it up into a ball. You go over to that office waste bin, which would be the school waste bin, same sort of thing, and you shoot it from afar, and you either yell one of two names. You either yell Kobe or you yell Jordan. And you better make it. Otherwise, everybody in the class is gonna say you suck. Ha ha ha. So yeah, that was our thing. Why wasn't Bunkari given some opportunity though from the bench? Was he even on the bench? He wasn't on the bench. He wasn't in the squad. I don't know. If you drink 13 years straight, that is dangerous and mad, but technically you could survive it. Yeah, you could survive it. I mean, we've kind of survived it too. We're still kind of here, right? The club is in administration. I got shaved. I mean, you got shaved. What does that mean? All right, but listen, I'm going now for real because you guys keep me here longer than I need to be. I'm blaming all of you. Uh, we're going on almost 4 hours of stream. I love it. I love the conversations, but keep it and save it for Tuesday. All right. We're coming back Tuesday. I expect you guys to be there. Bring the same energy. You guys show up for these. Show up for the one on Tuesday. We'll continue and we'll carry on. It's a new day. It's another day. Grace says a garbage bin in the UK is called the bin, but in America you just put extra words in front of the words to make it sound fancy. We just like to complicate things, Grace. We just like to complicate things. That's all it is. We want to be different, and we want to be a little bit more. I guess like how you say, make it sound fancy. Like we like to complicate things so we can say like, oh, it's like more. It's more posh. I guess it's more. It's a little bit more. It's not so simplistic. Everything we do is it's a step above. That's why it's more complicated and shit. I for one don't like the fact that we use feet and inches. I really hate it. I wish we didn't do that because the other system is far easier to do math and break down. It literally goes by tens. It's like the easiest thing. Over here it's like um to learn a ruler is like and do fractions. It's like it's just a disaster. I don't know why we did that to our own people. We shouldn't do that. Axis can't stand the manager. He's a downgrade in all aspects. Well, that's your opinion. I don't think so. If he wants me to shut up, simple thing, win constantly. That's fine. Save it for next season. Save it for next season. Because again, I don't think I don't think you're being fair. I think any of the managers you listed before, I think if they came, and I'll tell you this much, I think if Xabi Alonso came to this club in the middle of November, in the middle of the season, I actually don't think he probably wouldn't have done any real better because he would change the entire system. I don't think the players fit the Xabi Alonso system, considering that system is literally almost a similar, basically the same system as Ruben Amorim's. So I don't think it would have gone much better, to be quite honest. So, uh, and I don't know what Ancelotti does, but and he wouldn't come. But just Xabi Alonso as an example, I really don't think it would have gone any better because um, that whole thing to do that in the midst of a season. I don't care what manager you are. I don't care if you went and got Fergie out of retirement. It ain't gonna happen. They were playing one style of football and they were built for one style of football, and you're changing it to a totally different style of football in the middle of a season. There's nobody in the world. The only person that would succeed is if you got somebody that played the exact style of football that the squad was sort of built for. I mean, it wasn't even properly built. Like Ten Hag spent 600 million building that. I mean, he didn't spend 600 million, but he was backed. He got like I don't know how many players that is, but you know, he spent money, he got players, and or whatever he was trying to build and run, and it still wasn't properly built because the recruitment was poor. But he has a hand to play in that because he had final say. So and we probably should have never gave the manager that power, because that's not how things work at football clubs that are successful. So yeah. All of our seasons will be preseasons from now on. Let's just gaslight us into believing it's okay not to win. Nobody's doing that, and I don't know how. All of our seasons cannot be preseasons. That's not acceptable. This season was a write off. Next season cannot go like this season. Ineos can't afford it. Uh, Amorim can't afford it. Like, and actually, the club itself literally can't afford it. Like, they literally can't afford it. So, no. Like, all our seasons will not be preseasons. They are building a project. And I'm sorry, whether you agree with it or not, Eric Ten Hag was not their guy and it was not their project. And I foresaw this always. And I said, when new people come in and take over, they will find one place, one way or another, to get their guy out and get their guy in, because it's not their guy and it's not their project. They have gotten their guy and they have set their project, and let's see how it goes. Still going to take another 3 years. They said 2028, it's 2025, 3 years. Let's see how it goes. Is Southgate in yet? No, he's still tailoring his waistcoats. They ran out of red ones, so don't hold right now. Check your DMs, Eric, on Discord. Catch you there. All right. Yep, I'm going now. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody. Smash the like button. Thank you everybody that got involved. Shout out to all of you: Lyle, Grace, Axe, Ray, Lines, Rajat, Lou, Mon. Who else? Oh, Mr. Casandero. I think I said that right that time. Stephanie came in here as well. It was good to see Steph and hear from Steph. Anybody else? Almo, shout out Almo. We can't forget Almo, but he did leave at some point. Lyle as well, of course. And Lines. Yeah, so shout out all of you. Thank you. And we will see each other later. Axe says, I do not agree with the project. It has been shit until now. Worst season in EPL, literally. Let's see where it goes, but it's been horrible. I mean, it's not off to a good start. I will agree with you on that, but we have to make changes, and I guess sometimes, it's not gonna start off well. Again, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just look at the fact that, like, if there's about 3 clubs, I mean, I understand that, it's gone particularly bad, and these other clubs, they haven't fallen to this level, but again, we've operated horribly prior to them. I mean, we've operated the worst out of any of Liverpool, City, or Arsenal prior to Ineos. So, and we've done that consistently. I mean, even when Liverpool didn't win and we were winning and they couldn't beat us, they were still at least competitive. So like, even though they weren't maybe being run the best, they still kept up with us. That's how bad we were being run. So for me, I just feel like if you're run so bad for 12 years and you come in and make changes, the first year might not necessarily go well. You're making changes and you're kind of disrupting, it makes things unstable. So I understand that it's led to one of our worst seasons, but this was probably in a long time coming, because when you change is painful, and shit's gonna happen. So the point is, they've made these changes, and now comes the time when we're gonna start judging them, because it's gonna come to light whether they actually really fucked this up, or maybe they were actually right. And that only happens going down the process another year or two and seeing where that goes. I mean, if we just get stuck in and around mid-table, obviously they've done something wrong, or they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. Um, if we get worse, then they definitely did something wrong, and they definitely don't know what they're doing. But if we start to improve, then the good indication that they probably got it right. But we need time to see how that goes. So cheers. Yes, cheers, Lyle. Cheers to all of you. Grace says, how you feeling if we don't get Europe next season? Are you still excited about next season if we don't get as many signings? I will be a bit worried. I'm going to be quite honest, Grace. I will be a bit worried. Although I do still think that we would be able to maybe get. I still feel like without Europe, we should be able to do 5 signings. I don't know to what quality and what level. But I just feel, and I feel like the window might be a little bit effed in that sense, because we have to see. The thing is, with Europe, you don't have to rely on sales. If we have Europe, maybe a little bit, maybe a tiny bit, but we should be able to move, and we should be able to do some decently good deals. Without Europe, it's almost like we're succumb to the sales. So everything relies on the sales, which is going to delay everything, which is probably going to make the entire process just disaster. Because I mean, then you're talking about, we'll probably get majority of the signings quite late. They'll join preseason late. They'll integrate to the squad late. Maybe they're not as good as a quality as we could get if we're not in Europa League. So I would be a little bit worried, but I still think without it, we should be able to make five transfers in. I think but it would have to rely heavily on the sales. And that's without Europe, 3 signings, as long as they're the right profiles, I would be content. Yeah, I feel like it's a bit light, but I mean, if we don't have the means to do it, then yeah, I'd rather go for 3 players with the right profile and the good enough quality than get 5 that are below par. To say we got 5. I want quality over quantity, really. So top players, and United might get battered in Champions League, though. Well, I mean, that's also a possibility. Depends. Although, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I think Ruben's system works fairly well in Europe. And hopefully the gap in level from Europa to Champions isn't like big enough where we then do get battered. So I don't know. We'll see. I understand everybody's skepticism and questioning stuff, and I get that. But I really just want to get there so we could see it unfold, so we could discuss the facts as they're happening. Too much speculation sometimes drives you a little bit crazy, because it could, you just don't know. We got to sell Rashford. I agree. Anthony and Sancho. Yes, 100%. All 3 of them got to go, Grace. All 3 of them got to go. And so do I. I have to go too. So everybody have a good Easter. If you want, get in the comments. I appreciate them very much. It helps the channel out as well. So get in the comments after I end the show. Write whatever you want. Keep it clean. Keep it respectful, I will say. But yeah, you get in the comments. If you smash the like button, thank you. If you didn't smash it yet, please smash it, because it helps the channel. And we will see you all on Tuesday, and we will all speak on Tuesday. Thank you guys very much. Have a good and happy Easter if you're celebrating. If not, just have a happy regular Sunday and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, guys. Be good. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for the love and support as always. You guys are fantastic, and you make this channel what it is. Without you, we are nothing. So thank you guys. We will see each other and speak to each other on Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what that is for the rest of you, but that would be 7:30 p.m. UK time. Rest of the world, I can't do the conversions. So thank you guys. Lyle, I'll talk to you in Discord in a couple seconds. I'm going to go in the kitchen, make something to eat, and talk to Lyle on Discord. We have the Discord coming soon. We're working on it. Me and Lyle are doing this. So yeah, it's going to be good. Discord will be ready then. Yeah, well, hopefully, that'd be cool. And we could announce that, and we'll throw the link in the live chat for the next time, and everybody can join. So that'd be cool and that'd be fun. I can't wait for that to come in. And we'll probably have some updates come along the way as well, because I want to do a little bit of automation, automation, yeah, automation, so we get live updates by bots, so that I don't have to pull the news, and you guys, everybody can stay up to date and stuff. So I think it's going to be very good, very cool. It's going to be interactive, and we'll be able to chat when I'm not around and stuff like that. So and you guys can chat with each other too, and communities, people meet each other, they have other interests other than United, they bond over that stuff, and sometimes people come together inside the discords, and maybe they start working on something together, or they have a certain interest, and it goes from there. So I think it's going to be a good thing for the community and for the channel and stuff like that. So take care, guys. Be good. Love you guys. Thank you, guys.